Hello and welcome to the Computer Game Show. My name's David Turner and I'm here with Sean Bell.
Hello.
Matt Murray.
Hello.
And James Farley.
Hello.
We'd like to start the show, as we always start the show, and to give a big up to our Patreon producers. They are the Full Nels crew, and their names are Aaron Patrick, Simon Nelson, Tom S., Jack Oven, Moomin Biscuit, Richard Sawyer, Dave Ernsberger, Colin Brown, Gazman, Gabby Pereira, Graham Mackay, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Man, Rocket Man 76, and my dog Skip. They're the crew.
That was great.
They're the crew that we all want to be. It was alright, wasn't it?
That was anxiety inducing, that.
It was really. I mean, if we get a few more, I want to see how far I can go. Just I'm struggling. If you'd like to support the show, then please go to patreon.com/TCGS. There are various different tiers. We've just released our June Patreon bonus show, which if you want to know which of us have wanted to quit the show at some point, then that information can be found on that podcast. It was a really weird one. When we do those shows, we sort of just sit down and chat, and then it goes off on tangents and stuff. And yeah, never really know what you're getting into. And that one got quite personal quite quickly, didn't it, Matt?
Yeah, we also did some more Mr. and Mrs. questions, which are always interesting.
Of course we did.
We need to just start calling that Mr. and Mr. and Mr. and Mr. questions.
Yeah, we probably should. We've also got a bit of a news announcement for the show. We're very excited. We've got a special podcast and stream coming up on the 14th of July. We don't know what time yet. We haven't nailed down the time. I realised that times weren't mentioned, but you could, if you're a better man, go for 9 o'clock. We will be live streaming a watch over, not behind a Patreon subscription. This is free for everyone to watch, and we will be watching Thumb Candy, what did we say, it was 2001 documentary.
2000?
It was 2000, I think it was.
Oh, it was 2000. Yeah, it come out in the year 2000. Documentary about video games, hosted by Ian Lee, and he will be joining us for that Talks Over to answer questions that we have as we're watching it. I've seen it. James saw it ages ago, and Matt and Sean haven't seen it. And I mean, this would have been amazing to do anyway, because I think you'll absolutely love this documentary. There's so much cool stuff that happens in it. But to actually have Ian Lee joining us so we can talk to him about what happened and all the stories about how it was filmed and everything, it's going to be exciting. So just note that down in the diary. Obviously, we're going to be plugging it for the next few weeks, but it's very exciting. We're going to take that audio and we're going to put it out as a special bonus podcast as well on our normal feed. So although you should probably watch it because we're watching a documentary, you'll still be able to hear it if you're not able to do that. So
I'm going to have to remember to keep my mouth shut a bit during that, because often during these talks overs, we do look at how the people are, basically look at their sartorial choices, shall I say. And we're like, I can't believe they're wearing that in, 96 on stage or this. And I can't say, the host looks like, oh shit, I mean, Ian. Yeah.
We are really weird, aren't we? Because whenever we're doing talks overs, we're constantly talking about their clothes. Like, it's something that we do regularly. And when you look at how the four of us dress, we shouldn't really be commenting on that, should we? We're not exactly the height of fashion.
I know, but some of the fashion choices, there's they're quite ostentatious. It's just, I don't know, they're very strange.
Well, I think these were just normal clothes worn on this thing. But keep that in the diary, 14th of July. I think it's a Wednesday night, isn't it? So that's going to be a lot of fun. But enough of all that. Should we get to our feedback, Matt, from last week's show? They all loved it, did they?
Well, they mostly did, but we have some corrections. We're going to start TCGS.corrections, in fact. On last week's show, David said that Metroid Dread looked terrible, mostly because it is 30 frames a second. This is incorrect, as the game is 60 frames.
Wow. So when I saw this, I was like, it's definitely 30 frames. Definitely 30 frames. And then I went back and watched it again, and I was like, this is definitely 60 frames, and it looks incredible. I can only assume that I watched either a dodgy stream or it was buffering or something. But the version that I watched originally, when I was watching it back, it looked like crap. So God knows what happened there, but I'm glad I went back and watched it again because it does actually look really good when it's all smooth and that, not jolting. It looks really good. So thanks for sending that in. I was absolutely.
So now you're
wrong.
going to buy it because the frame rate's 60.
Will I buy it? Let's see. This is going to be a full 60, isn't it? From Nintendo, this one.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
Probably.
No, actually, no, hang on. I think I saw it. It was like 50 quid, I think it was.
That's still a bit much. Still a bit much for me. Are you going to play it, Matt? I know, Matt, how much of a massive Metroid
very
fan
unlikely.
you are.
It did look good from the announcement. We'll see what the reviews say about the controls.
but all the reviews of Super Metroid, even ones written recently, will say the controls are good in Super Metroid, Matt, because they are.
No, Sean. The difference there is that anyone who wrote that is a shit journalist, right? Because anyone would know. First point is controls are rubbish, and then they move on. If none of those reviews reviewed and mentioned the controls, then they're not worth the salt that they're paid whatever they're saying.
You know what happened there? It's because those the people reviewing it, they didn't use an analog stick to play the game. I think
well, exactly. Yeah,
probably what happened there.
It's idiots. Whereas I kept trying to do that and it did not work at all.
Right. Okay.
Sean Richens, is it just me who finds it suspicious that one key piece of David's E3 defense, his MacBook, has, and I quote, "My MacBook Pro is fucked, won't even turn on, water damaged. What's he trying to hide?" Great question,
Absolutely
Sean
nothing.
Richens.
Is it? You can't work this out, Matt?
Yeah, I'm on Sean's side, incredibly suspicious.
You can't work out what's happened there? That the MacBook broke the Sunday before we recorded the follow-up show, so way after E3 had even finished.
I was going to say the timing is
timelines.
Wrong.
I'm just saying it's suspicious.
Yeah. I mean, if you imagine that we record all the podcasts like in a day and then split them up and put them out over the course of a month, you might have a point.
Don't ruin it.
You might have a point.
That's what we've done for ages. Everything is weekly. We're just guessing.
Oh, I reckon we're going to smash Scotland tonight, boys. What do you reckon?
Oh,
what do you reckon, guys?
Probably 7-0.
Yeah, what a great. Maybe you can edit it in like the scoreline afterwards. what a great game! Oh, we looked absolutely great as the score finished 0-0.
What a stunning 0-0.
Yeah, that'd be like those old football games, isn't it? And today's game is England versus France. Love that stuff. God, can we go back to that? I wish there was an option. Yeah. Well, I wish there was an option in FIFA where you could go back to like 90s football game commentary.
I just want
number 8.
All you need is ISS 64. Just patch that in. I just want to hear somebody go, "It's a long shot!" like that.
Shearer. Erringham.
But it wasn't even that. It wasn't even that long ago. I mean, only a few FIFAs ago, you and I. Oh no, Pez, we're laughing at.
Yeah, no, but Pez has always been really bad for the commentary, wasn't it?
You can still laugh at that now, Matt, as I'll explain later.
Apparently so. Yeah. Yeah. What were the famous quotes from that? Oh God, I still say them from time to time.
Yeah.
More of the same.
More of the same.
Yeah. Oh man, football games. They're weird.
Stupid.
Next.
Right. Mo, dear TCGS, how about this for an idea for next year's E3 show? This is yet another listener who thinks they can do it better than we can.
Here we go. Come on in, Mo. Let's hear it.
Everyone sit down and listen to Mo's idea. Each member of the band, like that, draws straws on which of the big conferences he will miss. So Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, if they're there, one of the big publishers. The watchers watch the conference as usual and then have just 10 minutes to decide on 5 lies that they're going to include in their description of the conference before they have to report it to the non-watcher. The non-watcher listens to the report, listens to the report from the watchers, then has to guess which of the announcements he's just heard are true and which are lies. He gets a point for every correctly identified lie and loses a point for every announcement he thought was a lie but was actually true. At the end of the week, each member's points are tallied up. The member who got the most points is crowned king of E3 and wins a prize, while the member with the fewest points has to do a forfeit. Doing it this way means that each member only has to avoid the internet for 1 to 2 hours while the conference they're missing is taking place.
don't
You
know,
can either
James.
talks over of the 3 watchers watching the conference, then 10 minutes of frantic discussion where the 5 lies are agreed upon, and then a third part where the 3 watchers tell the non-watcher what happened, and at the end, the non-watcher has to say what he thinks are lies. It will be
is
sort of like
going
an
on?
E3 themed Would I Lie to You? Maybe. Personally, I think it's a genius idea that you should immediately adopt. Appreciate y'all. Mo.
You've just imagined Upstairs, Downstairs, produced and written by Mo.
That's amazing.
That sounds. The thing is, I mean, the way I see it, the way we do E3 is a nice balance between, fucking around and actually covering E3. Whereas this just sounds like we're turning it into some wild game show.
Come on down.
I like the fact that you think it's a genius idea, though, Mo. I mean,
I like the confidence.
Yeah, well, I think this is genius. All right, mate. Yeah, all right. As long as you do, you crack on. No,
Yeah,
I
you
like
know
the
what?
idea.
I think it was a good idea, and I think the people at Video Gamer would love to hear it. So,
Wait, hold on. There's people at Video Gamer.
oh, sorry, no, I was thinking back to a few years ago.
The one thing I'd say, right, is that taking away from taking bits out of that, cherry picking out of that weird rule set that you would pull out of a 1980s board game that was just like sheets long. The idea of having an E3 where we each miss a conference sounds great.
Yeah.
But in practice, it wouldn't work because you'd still need to miss the whole of E3, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just in
'Cause
case
what
there's any
if things are
potential
announced and-
crossover
yeah,
or
adverts and stuff, and I don't know. Yeah, make Phil coming out and saying, "How about that Ubisoft conference last night? Eh? Well, all the games they announced on ours. All right, okay."
Yeah.
I don't know. We're going to ignore that. I might as well be honest with you. We're going to ignore that. So we're going to carry on as we are. Next bit of feedback.
Dan the Nub, re-suspicious Rabbids prediction. You almost got away with it, David. Had you not boasted about the incredible feat of predicting the new Mario and Rabbids game, we all would have been
It was
fooled.
good.
Right after listening to last week's show, I contacted my cousin's godmother, who works as a community manager at Ubisoft. I asked her if at the start of January her team received inquiries about a new Rabbids game. Surprise, surprise, she said yes. She had responded by telling the person to keep checking the site for potentially exciting news on that front. When I asked if the person came from one David Turner, again the answer was a surprised yes. However, I wasn't surprised at all. The timeline matches a January prediction too conveniently. Then again, it might have been the other bloke with the same name who went to Matt's school. Cheers.
All right. Okay, you caught me and you've exposed me. But Dan,
How does it feel?
This just means you're a fucking grass mate. So who's the wrong one? Me or you? I think Dan's the wrong one. I think
That is a shame.
don't be a grass.
That is a
Don't be
shame,
a
Dan.
fucking grass mate. Come on.
That's a real shame. This is definitely not the parkour guy. I'm a real detective. I'm only an hour into this week's or last week's fabulous podcast, but I'm more than happy to stake out James's place next year to give you notes on his behaviour during E3. I think this might take it too far. Don't make it weird, James, and I won't. I want you to come out of this experience smelling of roses, unlike Dave and his tattered muscle memory defence. He's Kent parkour for life.
Well, the thing is, he's not. The whole point is James isn't going to be living there next year. That was the joke.
Yeah.
He's going to be
Yeah, he's
elsewhere,
taking
but he
it too far,
doesn't want
James,
us to say. He's think he's finally going to be happy for the listeners not to know where he lives anymore.
I'm aware this is like a joke and everything, but at the same time, definitely not the parkour guy. I'm a real detective. You do realise that you've just emailed a podcast and said, "I'll stalk one of your members on your show." You is there any point before hitting send did you think it's a bit weird, isn't it?
Because what would be
Am I
great
actually
was that,
doing this now?
assuming we actually get to do the parkour thing, which, let's face it, the window's closing on that by every second. But just imagine the following year, James being like, "Who's that in the front? Is it the parkour guy?"
Oh my god!
No, imagine there being a van.
Right, and the chase scene afterwards would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yes.
They'd be dashing on rooftops and fucking
man.
running up, doing that thing where you
just-
run up and do a flip.
I'm just thinking, like, you're sitting there and just saying,
feet.
that van's been out there for quite a long time. Like,
Yeah, it's like Flowers by Interflora.
Yeah, that would be the ultimate student versus teacher, wouldn't it? Like you just running along, just jumping over. You would, fucking right.
James just sprinting away. "I didn't see anything. I didn't watch anything of it. I'm innocent
You
man.
can't win. I've got the higher ground. Sorry.
So was that Cartman?
Cartman doing Star Wars.
Hey!
Oh my god! That is it.
Remember Cartman impressions? Remember everyone doing Cartman impressions? That was
I
weird.
still do. Who doesn't? What,
Well,
do I
Dave
not
did
do
one
that?
30 seconds ago, so yeah, I remember.
Right, okay.
That's it for feedback.
enough.
You
Oh, hang on a
can-
minute.
South
Are we not
Park.
going to talk about James's skullduggery?
Oh my god!
What have I
Oh
done?
my
we
god,
are.
yes, we
Yeah.
I can't
We
believe you
have to
missed that.
rewrite the rule book.
Oh, that,
We
yeah.
have
yeah.
to, not the rule book, the history book.
Yeah.
Because
Get a new history book.
last
Throw it out.
Guilty.
Last
last
Null and void.
Last week we announced the winner of the predictions for E3, and the winners were myself and James, because we both got 3 predictions correct. Until our good friend of the show, oh my god,
Have you forgotten who it was? It was
I
Cammy.
forgot. Cammy, that's the one. Cammy, a good friend of the show, best friend. We're best friends. Cammy messaged in via Twitter to point out that one of James's predictions was that neither Perfect Dark or what was the other one?
Fable.
Fable would be announced at the Microsoft
Well, no,
conference.
they wouldn't
or
be mentioned.
They wouldn't be
Yeah.
mentioned at the conference. But Fable was mentioned.
Yeah.
And James,
It was, yeah.
We showed you the highly anticipated RPG Starfield coming exclusively to Xbox. But we also have some of the industry's best RPG storytellers working on Avowed, Fable.
James,
What, I mean...
you went all quiet.
No, because I completely forgot that. I know you're not going to believe that, but I've completely
I-
forgot it. Yeah.
I won't. Well, I'll tell you what, it's not for me to accuse you of trying to cheat last week. It's for the listeners,
Well,
yeah?
the
I'm not gonna
listeners
cheat.
can decide whether they want to or not. I mean, it's,
Yeah, no.
I mean, it's
Actually,
one of those...
I will do. I'll step forward and say you fucking cheated, James. You should be ashamed of yourself. What for? For a point? For a point? Is that what you wanted? You just wanted a point, did you?
I did, yeah.
Well, yeah, you've been exposed, mate.
You got me banged
Also,
to
Cammy,
rights.
you're a grass. So yeah, I officially won the E3 predictions game last week. So
Unbelievable.
thanks everyone. It should have been a big triumphant ceremony for me last week, but instead that was stolen by a cheater.
It's a shame
named
to have to win this
James.
way, isn't it?
It is, it's like in those things when someone gets disqualified in the Olympics and then
Yeah.
the gold medal just gets. Did you hear that? What happens?
No.
You just meet an official and they give you the gold medal in a plastic bag, apparently. I read a story about it. I think it was an ice skater won because someone cheated. So they took the gold medal off of the winner that was announced during the Olympics. And then later on that year, they met up with an official in like a cafe or something and they just gave it to him in a little plastic bag.
Well, what do you expect him to do? Do you expect him to either say everyone get to the Olympic Stadium, we've got something to say, or wait 4 years for the next one?
No, you invite them to the offices or something, and then just
Yeah.
say, "Oh, we apologise" or whatever, and here's a lunch
Here's
or
the, here's the
whatever.
medal.
Put it on a little,
Here's a lunch.
put it on a little plaque or something. Just a little, display
Listen, you
board.
won the gold. You can choose one sandwich, one snack, and a drink.
Yeah, we've got a lovely buffet from Pret. You can have whatever you want.
The gold medalist reaching for one of the Tesco's finest sandwiches. No, that's not in the
No,
deal.
that's not part of it.
That's
No.
extra.
We're not
It's
made of
£3 just for the
Welcome
sandwich,
to
mate.
Olympics HQ. We're meeting room 2. Here's the gold medal. Here's the sausage roll.
Well, it's something a little bit more than a plastic bag, though, Matt. Surely
It wouldn't be a plastic bag.
it was. Okay,
It's a
so
Tupperware
the person that
box.
actually went for live this was it's a
No,
Tupperware.
it's probably like a bag for life. Plastic bags. It costs money these
Reusable.
days.
Yeah.
All bags are bags for life now, and they're like.
a
Anyway,
good
let's
point.
not go down that road. That's
Let's
proper
not-
Michael McIntyre
that's it
material.
for
Should we?
feedback. James is a cheater, and if you want to leave us feedback, it's tcgs.co/dear TCGS.
Oh, do you know what? I can hear a news goblin rumbling away.
Oh.
It was goblin, right?
It was
Scratching
goblin.
his
Goblin, wasn't
groin, fucking
Oh
disgusting.
god! Listen to him. He's opened the studio doors. Oh fucking hell! Another day on the news. He sat down in his little squeaky chair. He combs back his sort of greenish, reddish hair because you're a goblin, not actually how you look, James. Don't get too offended. And he ruffles his papers. And here we go. He's going to tell us the news. It's the news goblin, James Farley.
Well, okay. What's annoying this week is that Microsoft have thrown a spanner in the works again because they just released something just before we were about to record.
They did some news, didn't they, James? They did some bloody news.
That's fine, James, right? But we don't need to know that at the start.
I know, but I've got to decide where do you want to talk about that? Do you want that up front or do you want it later?
Your section. Put it wherever you want.
All right.
We spent 10 minutes before the show just chatting bollocks about music and stuff. So why did you bring this up then?
Well, that was enjoyable.
Well,
Maybe do it now, James.
Do you think you are?
Anyway, Kim Swift is joining Xbox Game Studios Publishing, and this
What a name! Who's Kim Swift?
Well, she worked on. Well, she was the lead. Sorry. She was the lead on Portal, and she's also been working for Google Stadia recently, but now she's moved to Microsoft to expand their cloud gaming strategy. Do you want to hear the quote? This is from Peter.
Before we do that, what a kick-ass name. Could you imagine having a name like that? Fucking hell. David Turner. Oh, no, what's your name? Kim Swift.
Kim Swift.
You should be a superhero.
Yeah,
it doesn't be...
definitely,
I think she's still at 343. Kiki Wolfkill.
That's
also a fucking brilliant name.
That's wicked.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean, I thought you were about to say,
name.
I think she's still fighting crime, even though she's joined Xbox.
I mean, you'd assume so.
Oh, I'm so ready for this quote now, though. James,
okay, well, this is from Peter Weiss, who's the Xbox Game Studios marketing head. He said, "Our team is focused on supporting global independent developers to build great games that will help us reach the 3 billion gamers around the world." I don't really know what that's got to do with this, but that's what he said about their cloud gaming strategy. Yeah, so there you go.
All right.
It's a nice little intro. That's what it is, James. A lovely little intro, and then bang into the meat. But you didn't actually cover the meat, did you? You didn't actually say about that when he mentioned Kim Swift in the quote.
Oh, because
you didn't want the meat.
You didn't want the whole meat.
Don't want to bang the meat.
But anyway, moving on from that, today... Well, just before we recorded, it's pretty cool because they've just released, what's it called? xCloud. So you can do this now on iOS devices or Android or on computer or whatever, anything. It works on all that stuff if you've got Xbox Game Pass Ultimate. Yeah.
So you tried this before we started recording, right?
Yes, I did, yeah.
What did you try on?
I tried it on Gears. Well, in terms of devices, I tried it on my phone. I tried it on my phone.
Wait, so how do you access it through your phone?
So what you do is you go to xbox.com and then /play, and then you just sign in as you do normally, and then it asks you to add it to the home screen because I don't know how that works, but apparently it maybe gives different access or something. And then once you've done that, you load it up from the home screen, you sign in again, and then you can just choose. It looks like just like the Xbox app basically, but then the games you just click on them and then just click play. And what's really nice about it is it's also got a whole section which are for games that have touch controls, so you can look through and see which ones are probably more suitable to play on like a mobile device. Which is good.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, we talked about this. I mean, it's the thing about it is I played because like Gears 5's on there, so I loaded that up first. It didn't load to begin with because it said that the server load was too heavy or whatever. Mm-hmm. But then I tried something else. I tried was it I Know What You Did Last Summer? That one, the one that we played recently.
Oh, yeah.
And that loaded up straight away. I
Know What You Did Last Summer.
Tell me why you did that.
Tell me why. That's the one. Yeah.
Oh my god! Okay, yeah. Sorry, I didn't even make the connection there. Go on.
So I loaded that up. That loaded up straight away because I don't think anyone's playing it. So it loaded very quickly. Then I went back to Gears and it worked, and I got onto it and it seemed to be working fine. But as I was saying to Sean over like WhatsApp, the thing with this is that it works. It seems to work very well. I'm very impressed. Like, it looks great. It works fine. There didn't seem to be any sort of lag or anything from when I was playing just on my phone. But I wouldn't want to play games this way. But yeah, I mean, I think as soon as Microsoft start getting this on smart TVs, where you can download the the TV app and things like that onto it, then I think that is when this could really take off. Because as Matt said, if you connect up a Bluetooth controller, this would be the way to go. And it seems like it will work very well. I can't see the point of it on mobile, honestly. I could see the point of it on computer and on like iPad and stuff, but on mobile, it's just, the UI is too small. It's really too small.
So can you can't see yourself using it much on your phone? You don't think you've got any need for it on like a TV? Like you personally, James, I'm talking about.
I could see myself using it on my computer. Like, definitely I could see myself doing that. If I was like away from home or whatever, just take a controller with me, I could log into it on my computer. That'd be brilliant. But I can't see myself doing it on my phone. It's just too small. I mean, I've got a regular sized phone, but I just think it's just too small, and I don't think it'd be that good.
It's the
just
UI, isn't it? The UI's not built for it.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
Well, just everything's tiny, isn't it? Because obviously all the text and stuff is assuming you're reading it on a big telly. So when you shrink that down to a phone, it's
Because the thing is, like the Switch obviously does this perfectly, but that's because it's designed to do that. Like it's it's all been worked out that way.
Whereas, shit, man, what if they do get that app on the Switch? They won't. And Nintendo said they're not going to do it. But what if it was on there, man? Could you imagine how good? Just taking that around and having like a big Xbox library on you as well.
Yeah, it'd be brilliant. But but so far it's impressive. Like honestly, like I was quite. I mean, I've only played it like very briefly, but I was surprised at how easy it was to get into everything, and how it feels like you're just using like a native app.
It really does. Because I've just had a quick try with it on the iPad. Because obviously, as an Android user, I've had access to it on my phone for ages now. But I was expecting the in-browser experience to be a bit shit in comparison, but there's basically no difference. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
cool.
Impressive.
Right.
I mean, James, have you not thought about getting like a like a Razer Kishi or the Backbone thing or some other ones which would make it turn your phone into a bit more of a Switch-like device?
Well, I mean, Matt, I bought that the clip, didn't I? Which I did that unboxing video for. So I've already got something like that.
I assume you'll be using that every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I mean, that's not in a bin somewhere. No. It's like the thing. It's not the control. The control isn't the problem. It's more the UI is the issue. I think it just looks bad. Like stuff. Not that it looks bad. It's just it's too small. Like text is too small and stuff like that. Maybe in the future this will change because maybe there'll be an option for like scaling or something like that for if you're playing it on mobile devices. Maybe they'll do something like that. But at the moment, it still doesn't feel quite right. It's a bit. I mean, it was the same with the Vita. Like, if you wanted to remote play stuff from like from like PS4 or whatever to the Vita, that also suffered from that to a degree, but not quite as badly. Because games obviously were not in quite such high resolution in those days.
So a couple more things come out of this news story. One, they're calling it Xbox Cloud Gaming. Now, I think when obviously originally it was xCloud, and everyone even now sort of refers to it as xCloud. Even all these news stories from The Verge and other tech sites and other gaming sites have said about today's news, we're all like xCloud. I mean, part of me just thinks they maybe should have called it xCloud, but at least it's Xbox Cloud Gaming. I think at one point it was like Xbox Cloud Streaming with Game Pass or some crazy name.
With Game Pass only.
But no one's going to be calling it Xbox Cloud Gaming. They'll be calling it xCloud.
They're not, but they need to get that brand on there, don't they? Like, they want Xbox to be seen as not the console, but gaming.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they want. So, I mean, it'd be weird if they didn't call it Xbox Cloud Gaming or whatever. But by the sounds of it, they're even baking Xbox as a brand into Windows 11 more than they had even in Windows 10. So, it's you can see why they're doing what they're doing.
Yeah,
they just want people to know that name, don't they?
Yeah, the other bit of news is that now all the Xbox consoles that are powering this thing, at one point it was Series S or 1S, but now they're all Series X hardware that are powering this. So now people can play next gen games on their machines, whatever they're playing, and also other people have reported that this has meant that loading is a lot quicker, frame rates are better, that the experience overall is a lot better because Xbox have now upgraded it to Series X hardware. So
what were they using before? Were they just was it like 1X's or
just the original Xbox? Not even the one that come out, that prototype
really?
When it was just a big silver X.
Yeah, the giant X.
Wow.
I'm not sure if it's like Xbox Ones or 1S or whatever it was, but now it's proper Series X stuff. So no, it's interesting.
Cool.
Why did James say really? I assumed that you just misheard what I said. I don't know.
For a second, I assumed you just meant the original Xbox One.
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant. Yeah. And I was thinking, wow, like, you know.
James just realising, whoa, my Xbox One was supposed to be able to do this? I couldn't even turn the bastard on.
Okay, next story is that Valve is reportedly going to limit region switching. This is to combat Steam price exploitation. So this is according to SteamDB, which is like a website which sort of covers changes in like Steam libraries and everything. And so what they've done is they're changing how you can change the country with which the Steam account is associated. And so then what will happen is that users will only be able to switch regions once every 3 months. And obviously the reason that people do this is because then you can buy things cheaper from other stores, like from other parts of the world where currencies are different. And I mean, Valve have tried to do this to try to stop this before, where they've mandated that you had to purchase in other markets with a payment method from that region. But obviously, there's ways around that. You can buy like cards and stuff like that, and it's you can get around it. So this is another way of trying to stop people from doing that.
Fair enough.
I mean, they've got to do that at some point, haven't they? It's weird. It's weird that wasn't in place already, but I guess it's such an open market that. Yeah, there was no stopping it, was there?
Yeah, I'm no stranger to a sneaky, Argentinian Xbox code deal or whatever, but also I can't really, I can't bring myself to complain about them clamping down on this stuff, I guess.
Mm-hmm. I mean, also, but then the thing that's interesting about this is that, because this is like geo-blocking, which is something that the European Commission is also interested in stopping, because they believe it breaches, like, EU antitrust rules. So Steam, Valve may have to face the call again.
James, we're out of Europe. Just move on, accept it, and move on. James, all right? Stop fighting this, right? We won. Let's move on.
Get over it. Get over it, yeah. Okay.
Oh man, I don't even know what to do with all this control we got.
It's madness, it is mad, isn't it? It's like you wake up and you're like, what am I going to do with myself today? Like, thanks.
Anything?
Whatever the fuck I want.
Really, no politics.
God.
Okay, then also there's been... So Square Enix put out an update for Marvel's Avengers, and it had an unfortunate side effect in that it exposed PS5 players' IP addresses.
Yeah, this was bad, man.
Well, this was
bad.
It's really weird. It's like, because what happened was, it's like if you were... I mean, obviously this only happens if you're streaming it or if you take screenshots, but then it was displaying like the player's IP addresses on the screen like the whole time. So Square Enix said, first of all, they said the issue where a floating string of text appears on the screen, this was the thing, and they said they confirmed that this was a problem and just don't go online like until they fixed it, basically, was the way of fixing it. But I mean, it has been fixed now. Like patch 1.8b
it already exposed a bunch of streamers' IP. Well, I say a bunch of streamers. They're lucky that no one's really playing that game. It's probably 2 of them, but that is bad, though, isn't it? You can't just whack someone's IP address up on a stream like that. Although, I suppose you wouldn't notice it if you were launching it from the menu, right?
Probably
was it there on the menu?
No, it's actually on the gameplay screen.
Yeah, no, I get that. I get that, but do you reckon it was also there on the menu? So, like, is there even a chance that streamers would have noticed it before taking their game online? Possibly not, right?
Probably not. No, I don't think so.
Oh, I wonder what the legal stuff is around that. What is in that terms of service stuff that you sign, like that you've agreed to when you boot a game up or when you join something like Steam? Are you I guess you're responsible for the stuff you're streaming, aren't you?
Yeah.
So, there's no way they can take legal action over that or anything.
All these people do is that they dox themselves by streaming the game. But
I mean, they've got every right to be pissed off. Don't get me wrong, but fucking hell, that is rough. That is rough.
But it has been fixed, so that's good. It just
I go back to streaming that game then.
Yeah.
Well, this is the thing. It's just not the one. The headline that game needed, given that everyone enjoys giving it a kicking anyway. I mean, even though it's really not that bad, but just for whatever reason, no one's playing it, and it's just unfortunately become a bit of a running joke. So yeah, for it to then start giving away people's personal information, it's just not what it needed, is it?
No, it's not what they needed.
Not great.
Okay, last story is that apparently Cyberpunk 2077 stability has reached a satisfactory level.
Okay.
Awesome.
Hooray.
That's all you want to hear.
According to CD Projekt Red management, they've said that it's reached a satisfactory level, but they're still going to continue fixing things. But it's like it's not broken. It's still broken, but not broken enough that you can't play it. But they did say
Was
that if
that the
you
quote?
no, of course not.
Are they referring to the base consoles, or are
No,
they referring to all?
No, this is not. So they also said that if you're playing this on Xbox One or PlayStation 4, you should really play it on a PS4 Pro or a PS5 or an Xbox One or Xbox Series X or whatever instead, because it's still not great on those platforms, and I think it probably never is going to be. I
think they're going to be done with that, aren't they? And they've done the minimal work required to let it be sold on the PS Store.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to move forward with it now, but.
Although there's still a warning, if you try and buy it, I think it still says you shouldn't play this on a PS4 because it's kind of broken, which is
that's shocking, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely shocking from a major company like that. I suppose this leads us on to what you've been playing, because one of the games I've been playing this week is Cyberpunk, and I haven't played it for that long, but from what I've played of it, that is not up to a satisfactory level of frame rate. Seriously, because I thought, do you know what? There's been all these patches. Let's just see where it's at. Let's just get an idea of it. And so I launched up my load game. I was thinking about starting over from the start, but I thought, no, I'm only going to do that when I'm sure that I'm going to play through it properly, and give it a proper go. So I load up my save, and I was in that bar, the nightclub where you have the you do the sort of memory stuff for the first time, right? Yeah. So it was just after that, and I'm walking around and I'm going, oh my god, it's stable and it looks decent. This I might be playing this then, because although it's still the last gen version of the game, I thought this actually looks pretty good. And I walked out into the city and it all looked great, and I just thought, oh my god, I want to explore this city now. I'm pumped. I got in my car, drove around, and it was stuttering all over the place, like frames were being dropped. It was ridiculous. And I just thought, no, not ready yet then. Not ready for me. I mean, satisfactory. I don't know how you can look at that running on a Series X and say that this is satisfactory.
It's quite mad how it's still like that. Many. I mean, I haven't really kept up with the news. I know they've been putting out these larger updates. And actually, I think another bit of news they came out recently was that they said that they've now moved, evolved or changed their tactic from putting out big patches that fixed stability and bugs, and now they're moving on to kind of improvements and whatnot. Now,
well, that's what I think it is. I think they got to the point where they got it working on the older systems, and I think now it's to focus on PC and the next gen systems. Yeah. I genuinely think that the next gen version of the game will be stable when they're focusing on that hardware, when they're focusing on, well, specifically Series X and the PS5. I think they will get it to a decent playable state. I'm not even convinced it will be this year. It might even be at the start of next year. But I think they will get it to the point where it's a lot smoother and runs a lot better, looks a little bit better. I mean, the PC, I think they'll get there on those.
The PC version still requires an absolutely absurd spec to get it running. Like if you're thinking like 4K 60, I don't know. It's still a real struggle. Like every time I've launched it on PC, I seem to spend 10 minutes just arsing around with settings and stuff. Because it's never quite how I want it, and it's just it's a struggle.
I mean, give me 60 and at like 1440. You know what I mean? That'll do.
Yeah.
1080p 60 would be nice.
Well, yeah, 1080p. I don't want to say that,
James,
but yeah,
what numbers do you want?
480p 60 would be nice.
But let's see. I mean, I certainly, the time that I put into it, and it wasn't much. I think I played it for about 45 minutes to an hour, just wandering around, talking to people, just trying stuff out. I come away from it thinking this still isn't ready to be played yet. I still can't play this in this state. Yeah. So let me see what it's like after maybe another year's worth of development. I'm a little bit hopeful that they'll get there, because I think the main push was to get this running on older machines, and now where we're at with the transition to next gen, and now they've got it to what they say is a satisfactory, but you know, it's working okay on last gen systems. Apparently, it's not. Then I think the main focus will be right. Let's get this next gen version out, and I think that's where we'll see the real work done. And you know, it's just, mate, you're right, Matt. It's been, the game come out in December, yeah, and then now we're heading into July, and it's still in this poor state.
Can you imagine if it comes out on next gen and it's got more problems or like more issues? You know, it's mad, isn't it? Like that it came out in this state.
Well, no. So, I mean, again, I haven't played it, but David, from what you played, could you determine what percentage of the game you're playing the issues are bugs or stability and frame rating stuff?
No, I didn't see any bugs.
Because bugs are the massive thing that everyone's laughing about at day one. Is like, okay, things are falling through the ground.
Not for me. Not for me. Like, literally, the biggest problem I had with frame rate. Like, it just felt like it should be so much smoother, but it was dropping frames all over the place and really off-putting. And the stuff that I played this week, it was better, but still pretty poor. You know, turning corners in your car and stuff, and then trying to reverse and all that sort of stuff. You noticed heavy frame dropping. And I'm just like, I'm not playing a game like this. Like, this is supposed to be a really powerful console. We've seen what the PS5 can do in terms of frame rate and stuff like that. You look at Miles Morales in 60 frames and everything. It's just flawless. And then you look at this and you just think, this isn't even hitting 30. It's not on. Like, it is not on. So, all right, I was a bit of an idiot for going back to it this early, but
I don't think so. I think it's a reasonable, given that they're announcing that it's satisfactory. I think that's a reasonable enough excuse to try again.
I guess I do really want to play it though. Like, that's the thing, you know, that the intro where it's like "Welcome to Night City" and the music kicks in and everything. I'm like, yeah, man, I'm up for this. Yeah. And then you get into the game and it's like, what the fuck? What? So, you know, hopefully they'll get there, but you do worry what future's in store for that lot. You really do.
Do you? I mean, I think they're fine. This game will eventually be fine and good and impressive and stuff. It may take a few years.
I don't think that's the guarantee, Matt.
Oh, I think they will. I think because they know ultimately it's going to keep selling. It may have had a disastrous start, but ultimately this game is going to. So it has sold well, and it will continue to sell well because it's. Oh,
the people that have struggled through it have said that it's barely a classic. Well, it's not really a classic.
I think it's a big enough game that people will be interested in it, and it will just do well. And then ultimately, they just, you know, they'll do another Witcher, and then they'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Well, yeah, I mean, they've already doing. You know, there's like a Witcher festival or something going on.
Yeah, WitcherCon.
Yeah, there's all that. You know, it's
WitcherCon.
No, I think it's called that. But yeah, Matt's right. They do fine. Like, there's not going to be any problem, I think, there.
But do you not think like there's going to be, like, around, you know, like the new Witcher game or whatever they release next, there's just going to be a whole, like, ooh, what's it going to turn out like?
No,
like, there's going to be
but then it's going to be, everything's going to be picked apart no matter what they announce next.
Yeah.
But it wasn't, I mean,
the
Witcher
was of it, everything.
Witcher had problems as well, though, didn't it, when it first came out?
Yeah, but it's nothing like this. This was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was still playable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Plus, it was just fundamentally a bad game. But, yeah.
But then everyone says the first two weren't stunning.
There is that. Yeah, everyone
the third
forgets.
One came out great, amazing DLC, etc. So yeah, this will be fine. Obviously, they'll just keep working it until it's good enough. And I'm very interested to see what next gen versions are like. I mean, I got a refund on my current gen, or my Series X version, or the fucking one I can play now. I got a refund on that one. So maybe I'll get the next gen one. I don't know. I'll be very interested to see what that's like. They can't really afford for that not to go swimmingly, even if they have to delay it.
I don't know. I think maybe they could just get to the point where they go, we've done as much work of it. And how much does a year's worth of development cost? And for what? If they're not going to get there, why are they going to continue pumping money into it?
They will, and I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, they announced that they'd already made back the money that they put into development originally, right?
Yeah.
But I think the difference here, though, is this is not like a what's it called? This is not like an Anthem situation, though, because in that case, like you've got EA, which is a
Anthem
massive.
Worked.
Well, it worked, but then obviously it was a massive failure as well. But you've got a situation there where you've got EA, which is a huge company, which has got loads of things going on, loads of games. They could just cut their losses on that. Whereas for CD Projekt, can they? I'm not sure they can do that with this. No, I'm not saying
they
that
can't cut their losses, even though they've already announced they've made the money back from the original
I think they can cut their losses, but they're like,
this is one of the
they're not cutting losses if they.
No. I mean, this is one of the pillars of their company. Like it's it's like one of the main products that they want to sell. It's this and The Witcher. Like you can't just say oh, this was crap, let's just get rid of it. They have to work on it and make it work. It's different.
And even if Cyberpunk didn't lose money, there will still have been a spreadsheet somewhere at CD Projekt Red saying that it was going to make a hell of a lot more money than it did.
Oh yeah, so for sure. Yeah.
and there will be people asking why that didn't happen. And so just because it didn't lose money doesn't mean people won't be kicking off that it was supposed to make a lot more.
No, but what I'm saying is that they won't be cutting any losses, will they? That's the thing.
Yeah.
I just think you're looking at 6 months worth of extra development, and you're still way away from where it needs to be. Like, how many more months of development are they going to bankroll in a hope that they hit a target, and that might not even be achievable for them? That's the problem. So we'll see. I mean, I'm just going to delete it from my hard drive again and try again when I hear there's been another major update, or if someone says it's actually working now. That'd be nice. But other than that, not much really. Just been obviously watching a lot of football, so been playing a bit of FIFA here and there, a bit of Rocket League. We went back to Luigi's Mansion 3. We're playing through that again at the moment. I forgot how good that game is. You didn't get that far in it, did you, Sean?
No, I need to sort that out.
I mean, October's not that far away now. Maybe just whack that out over Halloween with Isaac, because it's incredible. It's still really, really good to play. I love that game. And of course, playing a bit of Forza here and there, because everyone's getting excited for the next one. But I'm seeing more and more people on my friends list popping into Forza now, and just playing that. Did you play any of it, James?
No, not yet. No, I haven't got around to it. As I said, I had downloaded it though, and
cool. Well, what have you been playing, James?
See, I tell you what, I've not been looking forward to this terribly, because the reason is I'm very aware.
When have you ever looked forward to anything?
No,
that's
bullshit.
the question.
There's a lot of games that I look forward to talking about, but unfortunately, I'm worried that I'm going to be a parody of myself with these games, because pretty much everything I played this week I've hated. And because there's one game that I'm sure is on the list. I've not looked at the list. I'm sure it's on the list that I'm absolutely going to bollock you for playing. So go on. Well, let's go. Let's start at the top of your list, James. Okay, so the first thing I played is I bought the Alex Kidd in Miracle World DX.
Lovely old job. Let's hear about this classic.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is I've got an emotional attachment to this game, because it was the first game I properly owned as a kid.
Didn't it?
Because we streamed it together?
Yeah, because of that, Matt. That's the reason, yeah.
That's very sweet of you, James.
But yeah, it's because it was the first game that I properly owned. I mean, I've told you the Rice Krispies story before with the Master System 2 and everything, but,
yeah, no need to repeat it. We all know the Rice Krispies story. Yeah, that's good.
No, we should repeat it for new listeners.
Well, okay, I won a Sega Master System 2 because I ate loads of Rice Krispies. Not like it wasn't like a competition to eat loads of Rice Krispies.
It sounds like a Roald Dahl book. God.
But yeah, so anyway, I won that on that, and it came with like Sonic with Alex Kidd in Miracle World built in, and for a long time it was the only game I had. Like that's all I had to play for like ages until I got Transbot,
poor little
and
James.
Transbot was shite. So yeah, I only had that, and I knew the game like the back of my hand, but I only ever finished it once because it's really difficult. And so the last time I saw it being played was when Matt was playing it, and I mean he was amazing. I was very impressed. He did he finished it, and how many weeks did that take, Matt? I can't remember.
Too long, baby. I don't know. I don't know. Well, because I didn't want to use continues.
Yeah, you did it properly. It was very impressive, and so I was looking forward to this because I just thought, it's this is something from my childhood. It'd be nice to play this again. The videos look really good because they've obviously remade all the visuals and everything.
Sorry, I'm just going to jump in. Sorry, I don't mean continues. I mean like save states before.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you had to do it from. Yeah.
Sorry, James, going.
Yeah, so
he had TCGS corrections breathing down his neck. You just hear the. Okay, no, just before we go on, please. I just need to. Please, you got to correct it. Go on.
So I was looking forward to this, but it's not very good. And I think it's largely because the foundations of the game aren't very good. Because the original game wasn't very good, honestly. It wasn't a great game. And the controls in this one are worse than in the Master System version. And I know for certain because I've played both of them recently. Like, I've definitely played both of them. And they feel slightly off, like in this. Which is not good because this is one of those games that relies on like precision jumping and all that kind of stuff, and because of that it makes it even worse. But the performance also on the Switch version of this doesn't appear to be great because there's a kind of a lag to the movement which makes the precise jumping even more difficult, which is very irritating. But then the other thing, as other people have noticed, is that sometimes like the visual elements on the screen like obscure the view, so you can't see stuff, like you can't see the character because there'll be stuff like in front, so you can't see what's going on. This really increases even more frustration. So I started playing it on normal. I played about 4 or 5 of levels into it. Then I got really frustrated and fed up, and then I switched on infinite lives, and because that's one of the options you can do, and I just thought, okay, I'm just going to get through this and see what happens. But it doesn't really make it any easier because it's still one-hit kills, it's still precise jumps. It just means that you don't go back to the start of the level every time. It just means that you go to the checkpoint, wherever you are. So it's annoying. It's very, very annoying. And they've added like a whole bunch of levels to it as well that do fit the theme, but also just remind you that it's not a very good game. And I kind of feel that I wish it didn't exist. And what? Which? No, because the reason is because it's it's one of those things where it's like nice memories that you have of the past of when you play these when you're a kid or whatever. Then you play this and you're reminded that actually, as people said with Sonic the Hedgehog before, even though this is not correct because it was good, Alex Kidd genuinely never was good. Like in the first place, it was never a very good game. And you see, the thing is, if you think about stuff like recently, there was the Wonder Boy 3 remake, and I love that. That was brilliant, and that worked because the core game was still good. But Alex Kidd, the core game was not good, and this is still not a great game.
It's such a shame. There's like a new version. It hasn't really kind of. I didn't expect them to push it forward. I didn't expect them to make sweeping changes, but at least make it nicer to play.
Yeah, and it absolutely
I assume you hated it when you played it, Matt, right, recently.
No, I didn't actually. I mean, mostly because I was streaming with James. But no, I didn't hate it. I mean, there was some frustrating...
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the game.
No, I didn't at all. I didn't hate it at all. It was amazing to get through it. I was happy to do it.
I think you'd find this is worse, honestly. It really is. It's just, the controls, as I said...
stunning.
The controls are off.
Possibly made it worse.
They just feel not so good, and there's a couple of parts of the game where, because you can do that thing where you can switch between like old style graphics and new style ones, and like there's some points where you have to do that because it's kind of borderline unplayable if you're using the new visual style.
Oh, really?
Because the hit detection's so poor. Which is really very irritating as well. But also they've changed some of the bosses as well to make them more difficult, which also adds to the frustration. It's just, I can't recommend it. And this is somebody, I mean, I played this game a lot when I was growing up, and I would rather not play it again. Because
couple of questions for you.
Go
on. 1, did you finish it?
I did, yes.
2, how soon did you realise that it wasn't a very good game?
Probably about just after I'd switched Infinite Lives on and I was still feeling miserable.
Right, okay. Why did you finish it?
Dave, we're gonna catch something even worse along those lines in a minute.
I know. I'm teeing it up.
James, just before we go there, 1, it's still on your plate because you do it with Infinite Lives. 2, that bit at the end where you had to like step on certain kind of squares. Did you do it? Did you look at a guide for that or what?
No, you don't have to. Like, because you don't have to in the other game either, because it's got it on a stone tablet that you pick up, and you just have to follow that.
Oh right, yeah, but I missed that, didn't I?
So it sounds like it's on your plate. Did you look it up, Matt?
No, because I was doing a stream.
Okay, so what? How did you work out? How did you work it out at the end then?
James, what's your next game, James?
How did you work it out at the end?
I can't remember, but we got through it, didn't we?
How did he work it out at the end, James?
I think the chat might have been involved. at some point. But,
on your plate, on your plate, on your plate. Right, okay, Sean, the reason why I'm excited, because I know one of the games that James has been playing this week, because he's been tweeting about it all week, and this just proves that, you know, all the weird stuff with Matt, and we're like, oh, Matt, come on, man, you don't have to do this. What are you doing this for? I think James is worse. I think James is worse. Go on, James.
do you want me to go straight to that one now then, yeah?
Yeah, straight to that one now.
Okay, so I've been playing Super Mario Sunshine.
Why?
Well, because I finished the first... Because I've just wanted to finish the whole collection, because I'm that kind of person. I enjoy finishing stuff, you know? And so
No,
I
you
finished...
don't enjoy finishing it.
Yeah,
What are
you hate
talking
it.
about?
You just do it anyway.
I hate it, but then I do feel like a sense of achievement after I've done it, and I feel like I can just say fuck you to that game, and I've done it, and
But you
that
can
makes
do
me feel
that
good.
30 hours prior. Just
Here's the thing that goes past my head, right? So the reason why I wanted to talk to you about this, James, is that you tweeted various different videos over the course of 2 hours on Saturday morning, right, about how much you hate, like clips of Super Mario Sunshine with how much you hate it, right, for literally no reason. What? Why?
Do you want me to explain?
Go on.
Well, I don't know if you remember, Dave, but on Friday and still now, I've had really bad back pain.
You been to the doctor yet?
And after we, what do you mean?
Been to the doctor about it yet?
No, I've not been to the
your
doctor
back's
yet
still
because
on
there's
your
no
plate.
point.
That's still on your plate, James.
Yeah. But anyway, listen. So we recorded that show on Friday night, which gave me really bad back pain.
Yeah.
And so on Saturday morning, I was laying in bed and I was playing this game as I was laying in bed.
So that's what, 4 or 5 days straight laying in bed with this back pain. And when I said go to the doctor about it, you said I'm taking ibuprofen.
Yeah, and now it's a lot better.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
It's just natural. It could have been a lot better a lot sooner, I think, if you'd have gone to the doctor.
Dave,
I mean,
if
about
you
it.
go to
either
the
way-
doctor, have you ever been to the doctor with back pain, Dave?
I've been to the doctor with everything, mate. I've been to the doctor with ball
That's
pain.
a
How
no.
about
All
that?
they say to you is they always say the same thing. They always just say, look, take ibuprofen, and then after a couple of days, usually they say after a few weeks, then come back if it's still causing you trouble.
Not if your muscles are
Yeah.
spasming. They could give you
They don't.
diazepam.
James,
That's well good.
They don't say that. They say,
Very addictive.
yeah, say go home, take the ibuprofen, play Super Mario Sunshine, and get angry, and that helps.
Yeah, did they say go home and relax or go home and tense up with rage?
Well, this is the thing. Like, I understand, James, if you were stuck in bed, but there's still a million other games you could have played.
I know, but I just wanted to finish this one because I'm bloody minded like that with this
No.
stuff. And it's, you know,
Bloody minded. What? You just... Mate, come on.
look,
Play something
but no,
else. You don't need to do
let me
this to
explain
yourself.
something else to you, right, about this, Dave. The other thing about
Go on.
this is that, okay, the 3D Mario games are the only ones that I always feel, okay, I really want to finish this like 100%. And I've done that with every single Mario 3D game that's come out. And I'm starting to feel that I'm getting old now. And it's one of those things where I just want to feel I can still do it. And I'll know when I can't do it anymore that I'm past it. Like with being able to do this. That's why I keep trying. Do you not understand that?
Sorry.
You can still roll the
Sorry,
big boys.
that little speech there was supposed to convince me that you're not insane.
No, I know it doesn't make sense, but all of us do things which don't make a lot of sense.
I
sometimes.
just want to see if this old man still got it. What the fuck are you talking about, James?
It's true.
Why,
I
what
wanted
are
to
you
see if I
gonna
could
do? You
still
gonna
do
climb
it.
a mountain? Nope. Are you gonna run a marathon? Nope. I'm gonna play Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, because
Why?
it's something
I
which is
still haven't got a
testing my
reason.
skill still, and I still like doing that. What's wrong with that?
It's not testing your skill, though, is it?
No,
The controls are so bad. It's half down to luck.
It's testing my skill and my patience, and it's like, yeah, I mean, this took it to a whole other level this weekend because I was getting very fed up with it because it's just there is just so much like bullshit in the game. It's you see, it's funny because the last time I played this was obviously on the GameCube, and people have always said it was a bad game, but I had reasonably good memories of it, and I think it's one of those things whereby when I played it, I was like, just starting university or whatever, I had a lot more free time, and like it didn't bother me, like the fact that you had to spend ages like repeating things over and over again. Now you just play it and you just think, I don't know how this got through the playtesters. It's appalling. Like there's so many levels in this that are so bad, and also just like the level design is terrible, like in so many places as well. It is an awful game. I can see why Nintendo didn't like want to re-release this. Like for ages it never came out, like apart from the GameCube, and I think it's just because they know it's terrible, and it's just they didn't want to do that.
It's such a shame because I've still never played Sunshine, and I see screenshots of it, and I'm like, come on, it looks fine. What's the problem? And equally, obviously it got a bit of a kicking, back in the day, and then there was a sort of it had to follow up, Mario 64. Of course, everyone was gonna, it was never going to be able to follow that,
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, no, it's just legitimately quite bad.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
And it's bad. Like, visually it looks fine, although there's lots of bugs and stuff, Mario falling through the, through ceilings and all that kind of stuff. But it's the, but it's the camera, It's
Did you think they'll release it they'll fix it all for the next gen version next year?
What?
Do you reckon that's what they're going for? I mean, look, I remember playing this game and liking it on GameCube, right? And when this collection came out last year, I was like, I'm going to go back and I'm going to play it because I'll tell you what, I'm stand by this game. It was a bit different, but it was still really good. And I think I was about 3 levels in, and I just went, "This is awful."
Yeah.
And then I never played it again.
It's the controls.
Be better.
It's the controls. The controls are one of the biggest problems with it. Like, the way that Mario controls is horrible. I mean, it's just really horrible. It's nowhere near when people say things like, "Oh, Mario Odyssey wasn't that much of a leap," and over like Galaxy and stuff. I don't agree with that, because I think Mario Odyssey is like one of the sort of purest sort of idea of what Mario can be. It's fantastic, like, throughout.
It's a huge leap over Galaxy. A huge leap.
And this is nothing. It's awful. It's really terrible. Saying that, I'm on 103 stars. I've only got 17 more to get, and then I have done 100%. But I'm doing the blue coin thing, which is completely ridiculous. Like, do you remember this?
No.
There's like 240 blue coins hidden, like, around, like, the whole. There's like 30 in every single stage, right? You know how many you've collected, but they can be anywhere. Like, they can be, like, sometimes they can just be on a blank wall, and you'll have no idea, like, that you have to go and spray that or whatever, and then it'll appear. The whole thing is completely, like, it's been put in there for padding, to, like, make the game, like, last ridiculously much
to sell
longer.
user guides, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what that was.
That's absolutely what that was about. And it's ridiculous. It's the worst aspect of the game. And actually, no, it's not. There's worse levels than that. There's levels where you saw that. Did you see that one, Dave, that I did with the poison water one? Because that was ridiculous.
Yes.
That really made me angry. The thing with that is that honestly, Dave, what you're saying about wasting your life, I did start to think that quite a lot while I was playing it. Like, there's this bit where you have to get Yoshi. Yoshi can't swim, so you have to, like, go on these boats that go from. You have to go across 2 boats to get to an island. Because if you go anywhere near the water, he's done, and then you have to start again. To get through that, it takes. I think it's about 5 to 10 minutes to get to the island, and then you go into, like, this bonus game, which is complete bullshit and is, like, very, very difficult. You get about 5 lives to try it. If you do it, then you've got to do the whole thing again. And yeah, it's ridiculous. The whole game is completely ridiculous and has made me angry.
Well, I suppose what you should do, though, especially with those blue coin stuff, is continue playing it and get really angry. Yeah. Yeah.
It makes me feel alive, Dave. It makes me feel alive.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
You really are. You love surrounding yourself with things you hate. It's unbelievable.
I know. Why do you think you're my friend?
The consoles you buy, me, the games, like, everything. It's just, you need to get that sorted, mate. You go and speak to someone about that. That's yeah.
How much have we got left to do, James?
It just said 17 stars, and most of them are these blue coin challenges,
which are ridiculous. Like, it's just insane. It's like you have to sit there with. I mean, I'm using a guide now because you just have to sit there with the checkbox. Be like,
where's the fun in that then? What's the point?
Because it's still the fun. Okay, and I can't defend this because I was going to say it's still the fun of, like, the like the platforming or whatever, but the controls are terrible, so that's not even good. Just please stop it, okay? Because this is upsetting. This is not good.
Well, it's upsetting for me as well, mate. So should we just stop it because it's upsetting for you, or should we keep going? Do you know what I mean? You got to think about me a little bit more,
Mario
James.
Galaxy
to be honest
next,
with you,
and that's good. So yeah.
No, that is a good game. Yeah, that is. It's a good game. I don't think it's as good.
It's not as good as Odyssey.
Okay, I'm not going to go.
Let's not reignite that.
No, I want to play. I want to play Mario Galaxy 2 because that's the one that everyone says is like next level. But Galaxy 1, as much as I enjoyed it, I thought this isn't quite as amazing as people talk about it. Like,
I can't believe they didn't put 2 in that pack as well. That just feels so. What was the point of that? It's very odd. I know that
still really strange. I think by now we'd sort of assumed we'd hear that they were selling it separately or something.
Yeah.
But it's apparently not happening. Really strange.
Yeah, okay.
Sorry, just quickly, is Sunshine like Nintendo's biggest ever misstep with like a major character or franchise, whatever?
Let's think.
Well,
let's think.
There was
we got
Zelda 2, wasn't there? The Adventure of Link, which a lot of people really hated, but I've heard from other people it's good, but generally I've heard it's terrible.
Then was it Mario Brothers 2? The weird one?
Yeah, but that
was a misstep though. It still did really well, didn't it?
Yeah.
It was a different game, but you'll still find people that say they like that.
It's not very good.
And there's stuff from that is now, all over other Mario games.
True.
Whereas I don't think many of the characters from Mario Sunshine lived on beyond that, did they?
I mean, you could take your pick with any Star Fox game. Like any recent
That's
ones.
true. There's been a while since we've had a...
I've got the ultimate. No, it's not Mario Sunshine. It's Majora's Mask.
What? Everyone loves that.
I just wanted
Okay.
to hear gasps around the country as many people heard that. Like, as people heard that, I wanted to see how many times you've got some feedback in our Google Doc pings.
I was going to say,
how dare you? I don't. They've not misstepped with characters that much, have they? I suppose there was a couple of Zelda games that come out that were stinkers. But nothing to this level.
With like Majora's Mask, at least if you didn't like it, at least that was like a willful let's like subvert a lot of what Zelda has been up to this point. Let's make it weird on purpose. Whereas Sunshine just looks like a legitimate attempt to continue doing nice Mario stuff and just completely fucking it.
Yeah, I mean, it just looks. The problem with it is it also just doesn't feel finished. Like, it doesn't feel like they... I mean, yeah, it's terrible. Do you know, I got a tweet just a minute ago from Wookie Claw on Twitter who just said, like, about me playing this. He just said, I spent 30 minutes getting there. You know that bit I was saying about with the poison thing? Died once, game over. Reloaded and saw it was shut again. Stared for a minute, then turned it off and got on with my life. It's like...
Yeah. Oh.
That's what you should have done.
Yes, but I've done it.
That's 10 games ago.
But yeah, anyway.
Yes, but I've done it.
I did it. Yeah, so it's...
no one cares, James.
I know no one cares.
No one cares. Oh, man, you're so cool.
No one cares, but I do, Dave. And that's all that matters. So anyway.
Yeah. What does Chen think about all this?
She really doesn't like it. She gets really upset.
She must hear you shouting from the bedroom.
Well,
right?
that's what she doesn't like. I mean, she was sitting in bed with me like the other night, and I was playing it, and she hates it because suddenly I'll just like shout or something, and she'll be like, "Can you not do that? It's really upsetting." And it's like, I know.
I can sort of see where she's coming from.
What do you mean?
I'll be honest.
You just go. Rah!
She's going to sleep. Also, I think that the Switch is a really bad console to play in bed. Like, the buttons are really clicky. It's one of the worst, I think.
There's been a couple of times, because New generally goes to bed before I do, and there's been a couple of times, well, yeah, do you know what? I'll come up as well. I'll just like watch stuff on the iPad or play on the Switch or whatever. And then, 2 minutes into playing on the Switch, I'm like, no, this is going to piss her off.
I've tried to do
you
exactly
have to turn
that.
HD rumble off, don't you?
It's not even that. It's just, like the buttons are way too clicky to play in bed next to someone trying to sleep.
This is why generally I go for like visual novels and stuff if I'm playing it in bed, because then it's like touchscreen.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
Sean brought up a good point with you the other day, because you were talking about how much your hands hurt from using that Switch.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's another thing.
Get a Hori Switchpad Pro, man. Everyone says they're fantastic.
I don't care.
Great.
They look. It looks like a
fully
crime.
concede it looks horrific. But it's comfy as fuck. The buttons and sticks are way better than the Joy-Cons. It's great.
Yeah. Anyway,
but I never knew you'd be so like into the looks. Like, I didn't think you were a looks person. I thought you were a functionality person.
No one's leaving the house, James. It's fine.
I like things to look nice. Which is a ridiculous statement, but it's true.
Even if they screw your hands up.
Yeah, actually,
at the cost of health. Yeah.
I bet he's got a really, really uncomfortable like armchair, but it just looks nice, and that's why his back's fucked now.
He's got the throne from Game of Thrones.
Look, if
I'm playing a game's
my
back's
console,
fine, my back is fine. I'm watching telly. This is great.
I feel like Lord of the what they call that in a Game of Thrones, Lord of the Thrones or some shit. Yeah, okay.
See,
right.
I was going to say
like
that I like when I'm playing a console, I like it to be aesthetically pleasing, but then I realise that I own a PS5, so
exactly. What are you doing? Just get the fucking horror thing.
No. Do you want the...
What is that? Like that? I see, Sean. This is what I'm talking about, right? You've got the whole forcing yourself through is one thing, but legitimately, he's complained about playing the thing with the Joy-Cons.
That was for one game.
Ages.
That was for one game.
And this one, which is why you brought up that game.
This one has not hurt my hands. Not in the same way. That game was different. That
not in the same way. Right.
In a different way.
Okay, that's fine.
But this is like a legitimate recommended replacement for those Joy-Cons that will improve you playing in handheld mode, and you're flat out refusing because they don't look nice.
They look like a visual crime. They look awful.
Oh, mate, if someone from Horry is listening or someone connected to Horry, send them to him because I guarantee he'll use them a few times and just go, actually, these are way better, and then,
100%.
you'll get what you need.
Anyway.
But also, James, you in bed, you're at home, it doesn't matter, just play it. We're not asking you to play it on the tube.
Yeah. And to be honest, James, from what you've told us, your wife already thinks you're weird. So does it really matter?
They look so rubbish. Oh, look, that 40-year-old man over there is playing the Switch. How cool is that? What are those controllers he's using? Not cool anymore.
No, but that's the thing. I don't
was
care
such a
about what other
dude.
people think, but I care about what I think. And it's like, just looks bad.
Well, just don't give a damn about what you think about what...
I shouldn't. Okay, so you're saying I shouldn't care about what I think?
Yes.
This is the whole let's try and change James's personality segment of the show, isn't it? Don't be obsessed
like
about completing games.
I'm
Don't worry about how
here.
things look. Yeah,
It's not an ambush, it's an intervention.
I've missed it the past couple of weeks, that's why. I feel like I'm back now. I can settle back into my not being shouted at chair and start dishing it out again. That's where I'm at in my life. Okay.
I'm glad.
Is that it?
Better.
Did you have anything? Did you? Cheers, mate. Did you play anything else?
Yeah, I mean, I also played new football game.
Okay, I heard about this. You asked me to play it. I didn't play it.
You haven't played it, okay.
Because ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
But have you heard about this, Sean? New football game?
No, but the title is intriguing.
Okay, well,
Isn't it,
you'll be
Joss?
surprised. You'll be really surprised. Go on,
So,
James.
new football game is a game that's come out on PS5 and I think it's PS4 as well on Xbox. And you can see it on the store because it's this massive green icon that just says new football game. And that's what it is. So I heard about this and figured I'd give it a go. It turns out it's PES. It's the next version of PES. And what this is it's an online demo they're saying it's to stress test their online systems, which, I mean, I've played PES online. They need to do that because
Yes, they certainly do.
it doesn't work very well. And so, yeah, I'd say that this demo, it demonstrates that the servers definitely still need work. Because it took me quite a few attempts to even find a game, and then several.
Well, that's it. That's the point, isn't it?
Yeah, but then several times, like when the game was about to start, it then failed as well. Like it took quite a while to like get into something. So that is obviously what they're up to. You know, they're stress testing it. The game this now is built on Unreal engine. So before, what was it they were using for? Was it the Fox engine? I think it was.
Yeah, it was Fox.
Yeah. So it's built on Unreal, and I mean the stadiums look great, like absolutely better than FIFA, and I think like the character models as well look probably better as well. But the way it plays though is horrible. I mean, Matt, have you played this at all?
No, I haven't. No, I heard about new football game, and I like football games, and I like new football games, but I haven't downloaded this yet. But PES has always played brilliantly. What's happened?
Well, this feels like the players are like skating on ice. Like, it's really weird, like the way that they move around, and it feels really like sluggish. I mean, this might be as a result of the lag because you can only play this in multiplayer, like with other people. And so maybe it was because of that. But it just feels really sort of floaty to play, I found. And it's kind of the opposite of my previous experiences with PES, because I always felt that PES always felt very weighty. Like the ball, when you kick it and stuff, it feels really good. This doesn't feel like that at all. And I mean, I played played 1 or 2 matches of this, and I mean, it was both were draws, and it was not very good. I just found it didn't excite me at all.
They've made it very, very clear that this is not even representative of the game, let alone.
No, but then why release? I mean, I know they've released this
to
as
stress
I know,
test
but
the
it's still not a great advert for what the game is. Because for somebody like me who may have been interested in buying this, I am now much less interested in buying this because it.
But right, okay. So whose fault is that? That's yours, right?
Why is it my fault?
Because they've released a something, an app or whatever, to stress test servers.
Yeah.
They've actively said, well, it's not PES, because they're not even calling it PES.
But it is PES, Dave.
But
it's running on
it's
running on the same engine that the new game is going to be running on. It's the game. It's the game that's going to be released. I mean, obviously not completely fully.
No, it's not. They've actively said this is not the game that's going to be released, James.
No, I know, but it still gives an indication of what the game is going to be. It's essentially a demo of what the game is going to be.
Even though they're saying it's not.
But it's I know they can say that, but it still is. It still acts as like a demo.
Okay. I don't agree. I think this is literally just a server test thing that they want to stick out there. I mean, it's not even got shadows in it and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's like that's part of the reason why I didn't want to play it, because it was like, this isn't even to be played really.
Well, then why did they release it then?
To stress test.
Okay, so they released it to stress test the servers, even though nobody wants to play it because it's not the full game. So then, how is that going to work for their strategy of stress testing the servers?
Because people will download it and play it.
Well, exactly, and then they'll get an impression of what they think the next FIFA PES is going to be.
Okay. Well, they've done all they can to say this is not even close to what the next PES is going to be. I'm not going to say that I think the next PES is going to be good. I think it's going to be really challenging for them to change engines like that. What they're up against and all this sort of stuff. I think it's a tad harsh to think that this might represent in any way what the final product's going to be like. Especially when the dev team have come out and said this is absolutely not what the final product is going to be.
I'm not saying it's going to represent what the final product is going to be. I'm saying as an indication of what PES could be when it comes out. It's not a great one.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm glad we moved on from antagonising James to this.
It's very interesting that they're
I'm not antagonising him, though, am I? I'm literally just saying what the devs have said.
Yeah.
Aren't I? Am I being a dickhead?
Yes.
No. It's just funny.
Okay. James, that question wasn't for you. Yeah. I know what you think. It was for Sean, the mediator, as we might start calling him.
I like the fact, I mean, on Konami's official page for this, just saying, new football game online performance test. Konami is proud to announce a new football experience is on its way. I mean, why not just say it's PES? But also they do say the purpose of the beta test is to evaluate the quality, online matchmaking and connection to the servers. Please note that gameplay mechanics, balancing, animations and graphics are all under development and will be improved before the official launch.
Yeah, of course they are.
But then it's still interesting about this is that often demos for new FIFA, new PES games come out, was it like late July or August? It's quite late, isn't it?
They usually come out. Usually about a couple of weeks before the full game comes out.
Yeah, but then PES has been historically shit for online for ages, so it's good that they're getting out well ahead of that to try and fix things. So this is only a good thing, personally. I think for me that shows they're actively trying to make it better, and we'll see what the in inverted commas proper demo is like when that comes out. I would imagine
it would be funny if they do, though. Like, I will hold my hands up and apologise to you, James, if Konami come out and say, so, new football game is being released in November. Here's a gameplay demo, and it's exactly like what you've just played, with the artwork of new football game coming up.
I mean,
in
obviously,
the
it's not going to be that, is it? I mean, come on. Oh.
No, I know. I'm joking. I'm saying I'll hold my hands up if it is that. Like, it's a joke. Calm down. Let's all calm down.
The best thing that annoys me is that the last couple of years...
This is why you need to stop playing Super Mario Sunshine, because if you're going to come onto this show and get that wound up, then we're going to have to have words.
We've had 45 minutes to 50 minutes of character assassination. Of course I'm wound up.
Oh yeah, but you asked for it. Go on, go on. Let's go. Are we finished with the football game?
Yeah.
So one thing I was about to add to it is that the fact that the last few years it's been like, was it eFootball, Pro Evolution Soccer, whatever, and like, why are they doing that? Like, I'm worried that actually this year it's just be called eFootball. That'll be worse.
I've got a feeling that's the way it's going, isn't it? I agree with you. I think just keep the PES name. People know it, and people respect it to some extent, even though it is.
Fuck off.
It was losing the battle in quite a big way. I think changing it to eFootball is not the greatest decision they've ever made.
Changing to eFootball if you want to majorly change the way this game functions and push it more towards esports or whatever you're doing, but don't sound like a kind of a subpar football game and then call it eFootball and think you can get away with. Like, it's a shame. I really want PES to be properly up against FIFA because it pushes FIFA to be better. And PES was brilliant back in the day.
FIFA needs competition without a doubt.
Definitely.
The problem is that FIFA is so far ahead in terms of, we said it before, in terms of like matchmaking, game modes, all of that stuff. They're so far ahead with that stuff that how do you even compete? I mean, if you can create a online stable football game that feels way more like football than FIFA, then good. There could be some challenge there. But until then, we're way off seeing FIFA changing course from just churning out the same shit every year.
Do you think there should be a new Adidas Power Soccer sequel?
Almost definitely.
I mean, either that or Virtua Striker.
Virtua Striker.
I didn't play
World
much
League
Virtua
Soccer.
Striker. Was that actually any good?
No.
Okay. I played a bit of Sega Worldwide Soccer. That was
good. World League Soccer, also on Saturn, also great. You could basically curl shots on the halfway line. Felt amazing.
Did you ever play actual soccer, Matt?
That wasn't great.
It was PlayStation days. There's no way you played that one.
That
was on PC.
That was on Saturn and PC.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah, on Saturn. Yeah, it's all over. I mean, it's more polygons than a good football experience. But
okay, right, fine. Okay, anything else on your list, James?
Only I'm still playing Ratchet and Clank. I haven't finished that yet, but
oh really? You've not finished that yet?
No, it's all right. It's fine, isn't it?
How far into it are you?
Well, I think I'm quite close to the end, but I just feel like the last couple of levels I've done have been a lot less interesting, than the stuff earlier. It just seems to be a lot more fighting now and a lot less exploration. And
I can't wait to talk to you about the final boss. Actually,
okay.
Obviously, we can't really talk about it on the show because it's spoilers, but I can't wait to get your opinion on it.
Mm-hmm.
So, Matt, have you been playing Ratchet and Clank still?
I have. I've finished it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, okay. We'll talk about the final boss then after the show. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it hasn't changed much since last week. I still think it looks stunning, and it's still very, very fun to play. But James is right. I mean, it's full combat towards the end. It's full combat for most of the game. Actually, I actually don't think the kind of the way the game played has really changed that much from minute one to the end. I mean, there were more enemies and more dangerous enemies. So I guess there's. I guess if you're not fully feeling the combat, I can see why it would get maybe potentially more frustrating. Yeah. But no, I didn't get frustrated. It was fun, even at the end, still unlocking new weapons, still upgrading the weapons, I enjoyed it overall.
Yeah, I thought that there need to be maybe one set of different enemy types. You know what I mean? Because you kind of got like the pirates and the robots. That's kind of it. And it kind of feels like you could have chucked a third in there to make things a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what I did like is that they were basically kind of they were fighting amongst themselves, weren't they? So yeah, I like that.
Yeah, but Halo was doing that.
Well, yeah, no, it reminded me of Halo. Yeah.
It's like it's kind of like, okay, all right, we're doing this bit now. Am I supposed to? Yeah.
No. Every time I see any enemy in the game,
so you're fighting amongst yourselves. Yeah. That don't impress me much.
Any time I see an enemy fighting against another enemy in a game, I think, oh, it's like Halo. Like that's just automatically what happens now. I'm like, oh, it's like Halo. I enjoyed it, and as I said, it looks so good that graphically it kind of like carried me through. But what I will say is, I'm not like, oh, the next one I'm definitely gonna play. I'm not sure if I'm even gonna play the next one.
That's the problem, because I
sure
played the
next
PS4 one. I really enjoyed it. I got about 3/4 of the way through and was just like, kind of done. And then when all this was bubbling up about Ratchet and Clank, I was like, well, I know what those games are like, so I'll probably avoid it. And then the buzz got to me leading up to launch. I was like, well, I'm buying it. And then about 3/4 of the way through this, I was like, oh yeah, we're back here again, are we?
Yeah, I'm glad I played it, but also I don't think I need to play another one. Unless there's some substantial changes. I'm glad I played it, but anyway. It sounds like I'm really ragging it. I enjoyed it overall.
It's better than Mario Sunshine.
Then the next one, you can warp into different games. Yeah, it reads the games on your hard drive, and then suddenly you're appearing in Gran Turismo or whatever as Ratchet and Clank. Okay, shame. Have you been playing anything else, Matt?
Yeah, I've been playing loads, actually. I've been playing Final Fantasy, and this is the full name, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Episode Intermission. Now, Final Fantasy VII Remake came out, loved it, what a game. FF7 Remake Intergrade is like the PS5 upgrade for it. So, you know, with all the bells and whistles, it looks fantastic. Well, I thought it looked fantastic on PS4. It looks better now, obviously, on PS5. It looks absolutely fantastic. But I didn't have my save. My save didn't move over from my PS4 version, so I'm not going to be playing Final Fantasy VII Remake again. But what I have been playing is Episode Intermission, which is the new DLC chapter or episode for the remake. I haven't quite finished it. I'm really annoyed. I thought I would finish it, but I seem to have spent double the amount of time most other people have taken to play the game.
Well, how long is the average to finish this?
Well, I've seen some people say that they clocked it in just under 5 hours. Other people saying 4 to 6. I think I'm on 9 hours now. I haven't finished it. But I think I'm right at the end. Basically, I'm like, so the whole thing is split over 2 chapters, and the chapters are the same kind of length as the main game, so 2 to 3 hours each. And I'm 80% through the second chapter, so I'm very close to the end. I thought it was going to get done.
So that's where you're at. What do you think?
Well, I think it's excellent. It won't surprise you because it's obviously incredibly similar to what I've loved and enjoyed about Remake. The main thing is you're playing Yuffie, who's a character who I believe is a character you could have missed actually from the original Final Fantasy VII. But I gather
the original Final Fantasy VII Remake, you mean?
No. The original Final Fantasy VII when it came out on PS1.
Oh, right, you can miss that character completely.
Yeah, I believe you have to do like some side missions to have a come to your party, join your party, and then there's like a bit of a story around that. So I think for fans of the series or fans of the original game, they must be like, oh, this is fantastic. You get to see and hear more about Yuffie. And having never played the original one and not even finished this, from what I'm hearing about this, people saying, oh, this must lead nicely into Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 2, because I would assume the Yuffie bit in the original is past where we are in the remake, if that makes sense. Regardless, it doesn't matter. Yuffie is really good. She's like a really cool character. She's like a teenage girl, so she's like really excitable and kind of the polar opposite of Cloud and the characters you're with in the remake, because they're all kind of like hardened mercenaries and whatnot, whereas Yuffie is kind of excited and basically just out to get more materia. That's basically her story, and her combat is also quite different from how the main game works as well. So in this, in the Final Fantasy VII Remake, you have the different characters and they all have their kind of various styles. You have the people who are better at long range, better at close range combat, other people better at magic, whereas Yuffie kind of combines all of them at once. She has this weapon. It could be a dagger, it could be a ninja star, whatever it is, and you can run into enemies and hammer square to get in some really nice close attacks. But you can also have ranged attacks by going a bit further away from an enemy you're battling. You press triangle and you basically throw the weapon of choice that you're using at them, and then that basically sticks to them, and you can use magic then to fire at where the ninja star has planted, and then you can press a button to like go straight back in and zoom over to the enemy and do some close combat stuff. So you have a nice combination of some of the different characters you played in the main game, but combined into one person. Unlike the main game as well, you don't switch between characters, which is a really cool part of Remake, where you could easily and quickly switch between the various characters to do the various moves. But here, there's a point where you meet someone else, and you can't control the other person. But what you can do is, I can't remember the word, but basically the word is that you kind of. Oh my god, I should remember the word. Anyway, you press L2, and that basically means you join your attacks together, and then their moves, their kind of attacking moves copy yours. So, and you have like a little meter that fills up, and you press L2, and then you basically both go absolutely mental at enemies. But then if you press L2 and deactivate that mode, you can still direct that other person. You can't control that person, but you can certainly you can't switch into that person, but you can certainly say whether you want them to do attacks or not. But then when you kind of join together, you can do really, really powerful attacks and really take down enemies with ease, and it's really, really fun to do that because you can focus on just being Yuffie and letting the other person do what they want to do. But then when you really want to wreck shop, you work to get the meters up. And it's really, really immensely fun to do that because all the special moves that you've got as Yuffie, you can have like a combined version where you and the other person kind of do them together for much more damage. It's brilliant.
Cool. So where does it sit in the story? What, like in a timeline or whatever?
So it basically happens during the main during the story of Final Fantasy VII Remake Part 1. Now I'm still trying to work out exactly where, but again I've heard from other people saying, it's quite cool because you're doing this bit and you can see what that person was doing at that other moment. Now, it's not quite seeing different characters who you don't see in the main game. I'm like, oh, brilliant. So they weren't in that part of the game because this was happening. But you do get to bump into some familiar characters, shall we say, that you met in Remake Part 1. You get to meet them here. Now, but I'm not quite 100% sure where you are in the timeline. I know it's happening during Remake Part 1, but I'm not exactly sure. But,
so if you were to, like, if this was included in the original game or whatever, like, say you were buying Final Fantasy VII Remake now and included this DLC, is there, like, you have to wait to get to a point in the story to start it, or is it completely separate?
No, it's just a case of pressing R2 or whatever is on the menu, and then you go straight into this intermission thing. But if anyone is buying Final Fantasy VII Remake and we're interested in this, I would definitely play Remake Part 1 first and then play this.
Yeah. Because this is I know some moments afterwards. Remake takes some liberties with the story, but this is fully original, isn't it?
Yeah. I believe it's fully original. Yeah, I mean, so, but again, I have not finished this, but some people say that what this does, again, it kind of builds on those changes that Remake Part 1 did, and could have some really exciting potential when it comes to Remake Part 2. And again, I hear this leads into Remake Part 2 really easily, really well. But it's just been so great to be back in Midgar. I mean, I loved the music in Remake Part 1. Thought it was absolutely fantastic. And yet again in this one, they've managed to find new mixes of the kind of the tracks and musical themes that they had in Remake Part 1 again. And it's beautiful. I absolutely love the soundtrack. And yeah, it's just really immensely fun playing as Yuffie. And I'm really loving it. It's great. And but I can't remember the name of this other game, but basically the reason I have spent almost 10 hours playing this game when I probably should have got it done in 4 to 5 is that this game has a mini game built in, which is a game that you can play in the first area as you kind of walk around. The first area is basically the area where the bar is, if you played Remake or played the original.
Yeah, I know.
And there's a bunch of different people dotted around the area, and you can play this game.
Oh, I've heard about this.
Fort something. God, I probably should have written notes down. And basically, you challenge them. It's like a little board game, and it is a tower defense style game.
All right.
And there are various sort of side missions where they ask you to beat certain people in town, or you beat all of them and you upgrade and whatnot. And you can buy new kind of models to basically change your board before you go and play this game. And I basically played that for about 2 or 3 hours.
That explains why it's taken you so long to complete it then.
Yes, yeah. Because another thing that kind of annoyed me in the Remake Part 1 is that I wasn't aware that when I left an area, I would not be able to go back to do side missions. Either they told me and I didn't realise, but whatever. So I made a point of doing every single side mission in Chapter 1 because I didn't want to miss out. And a lot of the side missions were play this game and beat all these other people. So I played that for like 2 or 3 hours and then moved on with the rest of the game. But no, excellent. I'm really glad I'm playing it, and yeah, because I'm right at the end.
I'm trying to remember what the thing was. So if you owned the original game,
yeah, it's complicated. So if you owned the original game on disc, then you get the free upgrade to Intergrade, which is the PS5 version.
But then you have to pay for the DLC on top.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Yuffie DLC, the Intermission, it's called. I think that's like 15 or 16 quid. So you have to buy that regardless. But if you have the disc version, then you get the PS5 upgrade for free. If you downloaded the game through PlayStation Plus a couple of months ago, then you don't get a free upgrade to the PS5 version. So I bought Remake Part 1 last year or the year before, whenever it was, and sold it. And because I wanted the PS5 version, I rebought it on disc to get the free PS5 upgrade.
Right, how much do you pay for it?
I don't know.
£25 now?
25 or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't much. And
okay.
I'm playing this, I'm like, maybe I do go through and play the game again. It's just so bloody good. I just absolutely love it. I just love so much about it. Anyway, play that. Really enjoying it. The last game I'm playing is Retro Goal. Retro Goal is a new game from New Star Games, who made New Star Soccer. I think they've also made another game called Retro Bowl, which is like a retro American football style game. This is a retro style football game, soccer game.
When you say retro style, we're talking like kickoff era, sensible soccer.
Yeah, yes. Well, it's sensible soccer, but it's not top down. It reminded me a lot of like FIFA '94, but yeah, it's those kind of old school football games. It's a combination of that. But there's also some management in there as well, whereby you can train players, you can scout players, you can use money you earn in game to upgrade your stadium, etc., etc. So it's as much management as it is playing. Playing is really, really fun. It's very, very simplistic controls.
This is touchscreen, is it? It's all
yeah. It's touchscreen. So a game would start, and just like say Football Manager back in the day, it will start with some text on screen saying your opponent has the ball in your half, or they do a shot, and it could be a goal. You can't know anything about that, and then it will be like, okay, it breaks in midfield, and now I'm playing as Blackpool. And Blackpool get it at midfield, and then it will kind of cut to you playing it. And it has some really satisfying controls whereby you do a couple of swipes and your player runs to the ball. If you want to do a pass or a shot, you basically pull back, and it kind of slows down to give you opportunity to pull back on the screen and aim your pass or aim your shot. And there's some nice things where you can do a cross, and if you double tap the screen, it will be a header towards goal. And it's really, really fun and satisfying. It's really slowed down, obviously, but even though it's slowed down, it's immensely satisfying to build up passes, build up, a nice attacking flow, and to get a goal. It's fantastic. So I've been playing that. Basically, it's free to download. The first 10 games are free, and when you hit 10 games, it asks you to pay. I think it's like £1 or £2.
That was how the original business model for New Star Soccer works, wasn't it? You play 10 games and then you had to pay just a small fee for it.
I absolutely love the first New Star Soccer. Played that a fair bunch and then didn't kind of bother with any of the sequels.
Well, they changed it again. They changed the business model to proper free to play after that, didn't they? And it was it was kind of put me off it. But yeah, no, the original game, when that came out, I played that on the way to Coventry, Millwall Coventry away, and I downloaded it, and I was sitting in the back of the car playing it, just thinking, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about this. This is too good.
Yeah.
So yeah, if it gets anywhere close to that.
You should all play it. It's really, really satisfying. So you whilst you play games and win, or if you have a clean sheet and stuff, you get coins, and then those coins can be used to, as I said, upgrade your youth academy, training facilities, etc. There is a bit of a free-to-play aspect in that there's the store, and you can buy the coins with real life money if you wanted to, or you can just earn them. And I'm happy to earn them. But no, it's really immensely fun. It works really well with kind of simplistic touchscreen controls, and it's fun. I mean, I'm playing as Blackpool. At the beginning, it says who's your favourite football team. Went for Palace, obviously, and they say, well, you're not playing as Palace. You can play as one of these teams instead.
Yeah, that's the only team that does that for.
Yeah,
No.
Yes, I'll join as Blackpool, and we'll win the
Are
championship.
you an ultra? Yes, no.
Should the games begin? Yes or no? So, but no, Dave and James, maybe Sean as well, but Dave and James, you should absolutely give us a go. I'm surprised you haven't already.
Now I'm interested. James, where do you sit on how this sounds?
It sounds.
I know you're very wary of free-to-play mechanics.
Well, that's the thing. It sounds interesting, but what about the microtransaction element with this?
Other than the fact that I've gone past the 10 games and happily bought the full version, I haven't felt the need to buy extra Starbucks. I'm sure I could spend let's see, you can spend as much as a tenner on these Starbucks, but I feel like I could do it, and it kind of robbed me of the challenge. Like, if I just buy 10,000 Starbucks, I'm like, okay, well, I'll just upgrade everything. And I don't know, I'm enjoying it as is. I think I like to think that these extra kind of in-app transactions are a way for the dev to make a bit of extra money, and actually they're going to make it's not because it's a free-to-download game and there's the opportunity to pay some money to unlock it fully. I don't think, or I hope it's not going to be a type of game that's going to really limit the coins. I mean, so far I've done okay, and it's gone along a nice pace. I haven't felt restricted, and it's just really, really immensely fun to play. I mean, I this game doesn't have an in-game kind of recording function, but I've already seen some replays online. So I've now, whenever a game starts, I just do screen recording on my phone, and I've edited some goals together and stuff. It's just, it's just immensely fun and really, really satisfying. So you should absolutely give it a go. That was Retro Goal, by the way.
I will. That sounds pretty
I probably
good.
will try that, because even I got into New Star Soccer for a bit.
Oh, did you?
See, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
man.
it's good.
I wish I knew at the time so we could hear your whole story about it.
I was just thinking, did we... I'm trying to think if we knew each other at that point.
No, we did, because it was on... We talked about it on Joypod, I remember.
Did we?
Yeah, we talked about it many times.
I'm pretty sure we all spoke about it.
It was really good, but then, again, the microtransactions got into it, and then it became not so good, which was a shame.
Yeah.
They were just following the trends, though. You know what I mean? That was just how it went.
I don't think anyone at that point, no one knew quite how poisonous that whole thing was going to get, I suppose.
James did. James did. Right, okay, is that it, Matt?
That's it, yeah.
Cool. Sean, what you got?
Hello. I've been playing Earth Defense Force World Brothers, which I was going to talk about the other week, and I decided to hold off just because we had all E3 stuff going on, and we had to sort of move things around and cut things down and stuff. So I've saved it for now, and I'm really glad I did, because I've properly turned a corner with it. So this is so there was Earth Defense Force Iron Rain a couple of years ago, which was a bit of a spin-off. It wasn't a numbered Earth Defense Force
I remember
game,
you
and
saying about this one. Yeah,
and it wasn't by Sandlot, the original devs. It was by Ukes of lackluster wrestling games fame. So this is another Ukes one, and it's another different sort of spin-off one. In that it's all voxel graphics, right? And it sort of leans much harder into sort of intentionally being a comedy, which is a weird shift, because obviously the EDF series, the traditional ones, have always been very much, they've had that B-movie charm in that they're sort of 95% sort of trying to be super serious, and then sort of 5% absolutely ridiculous and suffering from a low budget and kind of being funny as a result. Whereas this is very much no, we are writing this as a comedy, we're writing funny dialogue and stuff. And initially I was at first the humour wasn't really landing for me. It was it has this voxel art style, so everything's made out of cubes, which I didn't dislike it, but I was just a bit I don't really understand why they've done this. But yeah, after playing it for a bit, I'm really into it now. So the basically, gameplay-wise, the main shift is, so EDF games for a long time have had like different classes you can play as, with like different abilities and movement types and stuff. So like there's your standard soldier, there's the one that can fly, there's the heavy armored guy and what have you. So this. But you always pick one character and then you kind of stick with it. You can choose a different character for different missions, but you're always one person. Whereas this is you put together a squad and you can switch between them on the fly, like at any point. And again, initially I was like, oh, right, okay, well, because there's not much customization with each character, right? You pretty much you can give them like an accessory and you can change their weapon, but only once they start ranking up. So you're pretty much stuck with whatever their default weapon is. So initially I was like, okay, well that doesn't seem as cool. But once you get your head around the fact that you can switch between characters at any point, and it'll switch to say you're playing as one character, the other 3 characters in your squad are all like running around doing stuff. But if you switch characters, it puts the new character exactly where your old one was, if that makes sense. It like drags them over to where you currently are. So you might have like a unit that's like really heavy, right? It's like really slow and has, like a machine gun or whatever, but it's really difficult to get in the right place. Yeah. So you're just like, well, I'll just switch to the one that can fly around and then get exactly where I need, and then switch to the heavy one and just drop them in and machine gun everything. And it becomes really clear that it wants you to do that. Like there's loads of tips on the loading screens where it's like, it's always been a thing with EDF games that you sort of carefully time your reloads for when you're not surrounded by giant ants. Whereas this, it's like just switch characters. If you guys reloading, just be someone else while they reload and then switch back. And it's like,
seems like such a simple way of making something just more fun.
Yeah, exactly. Like in some
remove
ways,
those
it's
limitations and just
because in some ways, you sort of think, oh well, that sort of ruins some of the strategy such as it was of the previous games, but then because it adds so much more, like when you start figuring things out, I got a ninja character. The character's really silly in this. I'll get onto that in a minute, but I got a ninja who has a sword and he can run around and slash the fuck out of things, but obviously has no like ranged abilities, but he has an attack. So if he's in the air and you do a sword slash, he does this like sort of downward forward slash with the sword and does shitloads of damage. So you sort of running and jumping around playing with him. It's like, oh, this is really cool. And then again, you realize, oh, fuck, if I switch to a flying character, just fucking fly over the enemies, switch to the ninja, and then just fucking like swoop down and just slash the fuck out of everything. And it's fucking great. It's so much fun. It's weird. The whole like concept, so the World Brothers thing, right, is that basically the aliens have invaded again, as per every Earth Defense Force game, but this time they've split the world up into different segments, and you're trying to, and it basically every mothership you defeat, it like sticks another bit of the world back together, and all the characters you unlock,
like they've physically broken up.
So
planet.
it's like the world's just like this cube in space, right, and it's all broken apart. So every time you defeat a mothership, it's like this block just goes and like clicks onto the rest of it, and so every level you just. Like, there's always, like, friendly characters that you can rescue, and then they get added to your roster. And they sort of range from, like, so there's tons of characters from previous EDF games, just, like, different, classes and stuff. But then there's also, this World Brothers thing, is that there will be just all these different characters from different countries of the world. And it sort of, it definitely skirts a line of, like, just relying on lazy stereotypes, and I wouldn't say it is offensive. The only one that made me raise an eyebrow is when you get I got the Amigo brother, who's clearly a Mexican guy, and he's like, oh, I'm just gonna go sleep off this headache, and it's like, right, okay, Mexicans are all they all sleep all the time, don't they? So that wasn't great. But then also, there's ninjas and vampires and a Canadian guy who wears a bear suit for some reason, and just all sorts of weird stuff. And there's like entire sort of like there'll be like a whole series of missions where it's sort of weirdly educational. Like So you rescue the ninja, right? And he gets added to your crew. And he's really hungry. He wants some miso soup, right? And and then the next few missions are you trying to get ingredients for his miso soup. And so there's one mission where you're trying to get some wakame, right? And there's like a cowboy in your squad who's like an idiot, right? He's very much like he can't pronounce anything in Japanese, and it's sort of leaned on sort of on purpose. And he's like, "Oh, what's this wakame stuff?" Right? And as you're playing this mission, you're shooting all these giant ants and spiders and wasps and stuff. There's all this dialogue about how like, oh well, it's like it's a type of kelp, and it's it's like used a lot in sort of Asian cooking, but actually in the West, it's considered like an aggressive like nuisance. It's like considered a problem by like American fishing organizations and stuff. And you're just like, yeah, I didn't know that. That's quite interesting. A bit of education, isn't it? And then and then there's a bit where he's after some tofu, and they're like, "Did you know that actually Japan only capable of producing about 30% of the tofu that it consumes, and it has to import it from other places?" And they're like, "Oh, so this is why we need to get the world back together, or else there's not going to be enough tofu for Japan." It's bizarre. And as I say,
the world is a cube. Where does this all fit in? How is it bringing in like real world facts into a cube world? What's going on?
I mean, the cube world is clearly roughly based on our actual planet, right?
Yeah, what's it like fighting in London and stuff?
Yes, so yeah, London's in there because London's been in previous EDF games, and it is very weird, like because they've updated it, so like the London Eye is there and stuff. So that's weird.
They've updated it. It's within the last 21 years.
No, because the last time London was in EDF was EDF 2 on the PS2. So but yeah, it's like, and there's a I can't remember what he's called. I think he might just be called Soldier Brother, Royal Brother. That's it, and he's one of the the Royal Palace guards with the big black hat.
William or Harry?
Did he move to a different country?
Did he move to the Canadian area with the bear dude?
It's just bizarre and a lot of fun. Like I say, there's loads of like genuinely amusing dialogue. One thing it suffers from is like a lot of it repeats like really quickly. So like when you activate your special move, there'll be like a couple of different lines that like any given character can use. And again, they're not laugh out loud funny. They're just quite amusing. But then when you hear them like 4 times in the space of one mission, that's kind of a shame. What a bizarre game.
So like performance wise, they've obviously changed the graphical style quite heavily. It looks, Minecraft is like a lazy way to say it. Makes
that
kind of style really. But it looks really nice lighting wise. But I mean, has that helped with performance? Is it still kind of a bit dodgy in that regard?
So I'm playing it on the Switch, and I sort of wish I wasn't. It doesn't.
Is it on
run
all platforms?
Brilliantly. Is it what? Sorry.
Is it on everything?
It's on, so it's not on Xbox, but I think it's on PlayStation, PC, and Switch. Performance is not amazing on the Switch version, which is kind of a shame.
It's weird, isn't it?
But then
it does feel at the moment like we're moving towards that becoming more of a problem, doesn't it? Like it's
more consistently.
It's not gonna. It's almost as if there should be some sort of new professional version of the Switch to sort of catch up just a little bit.
Just for professionals.
No professionals, please.
But it also it does the thing of poking fun at series traditions whilst also still doing them, right? So it's like a thing in EDF games that it'll show you like a later boss, but quite early on. And you can't actually defeat it, and you just have to sort of damage it enough until it runs away. And it has one of those where this big dinosaur turns up and you're shooting it, and then someone's on the radio going, "Oh yeah, sorry, we can't kill it yet. We just have to trigger its escape event, and then we'll just go on to the next mission." And you kind of like, that is quite funny because obviously you'll only get that if you've played other EDF games, but also you are just joking about the annoying thing that you are still doing. Do you know what I mean? So it's sort of having cake and eating it. But then,
if you can joke about it, it doesn't count. But no, you're still doing it.
Exactly.
So does this do? It's probably like a silly comparison, but I kind of look at this and think, is this doing what Monster Hunter World did compared to regular Monster Hunter? Is this bringing in stuff that might be a bit more palatable to a wider audience, but actually you feel like could work in the main Earth Defense Force series, or does it not do that? I don't know,
to be honest, because I don't think. I mean, again, like I was initially saying, I didn't really understand what the point of the graphical style was. But then, like, if you had a very realistic-looking EDF game where you could just instantly switch characters, that would look weird. Like, I think it being a bit cartoony sort of leans into that. I don't know if this is gonna. I don't even know if they want this to have any wider appeal, because, as I say, so much of the humor and stuff sort of relies on you, like, knowing about EDF, and yet it's different enough that I don't know. It's a weird one. I definitely can't see it being a Monster Hunter Worlds moment. I mean, if nothing else, they're charging £50 for it, which is pretty steep for what it is. Like, I'm having a really good time with it, but it's a lot of money.
Yeah, I've just looked on Steam, and it's £54 on Steam.
It was £54 on Steam.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Wow. that's quite. Yeah, but what if you switch regions quickly
do that
before they stop that?
Yeah. or in 3 months' time. It's okay.
70p in Argentina.
But yeah, having been a fan of the series for a long time, this is another like interesting twist on it, and I'm glad they've done it. I still like, because I can't remember when the last sort of proper EDF game was. It was a while ago now. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see if like any of this stuff gets folded into the main series. I don't think it will, but like as an interesting sideshow, like I've been properly enjoying it. And as I say, the character switching stuff it's just a really interesting twist on it and makes it really good fun. So that's one game I've been playing this week. The other two, Dave, if you want to go for a bit.
What do you mean?
Well, because I'm going to talk about Destiny 2 and then Sea of Thieves.
I mean,
I won't go on for ages because obviously I'm just talking about expansions. Go on, sorry.
Can I also just point out Switzerland just beat France? So,
Yeah, I know.
Unbelievable.
And Mbappe missed the last penalty, yeah.
I can't believe Mbappe missed that. That is incredible. The favourites are out on pens to Switzerland.
Let's not, because this podcast comes out after England, Germany.
Oh, yeah.
So let's...
No, okay, let's not, but also I think we're going to win the Euros. Sorry, sure.
Please continue.
Yeah, just quickly. So basically, I've been having a really good time chipping away at the current season of Destiny 2. It's been going for, it's about 6 or 7 weeks now. They've really nailed this whole thing of like basically having a story that sort of unfolds week by week, and it's really nice. It's really good. Like even as a relatively casual player, basically just checking in every week and just ticking off some weekly stuff and getting a bit more of the story has just been proper good. And like the story is actually legitimately interesting as well. There's been a whole thing where basically, the Fallen or the Elixni, whatever you want to call them, like some of them have taken shelter within the city now, and there's stuff about essentially racism, and they've essentially come to the city like seeking asylum, and some people are really suspicious of them, and there have been like hate crimes and stuff, and it's been properly interesting, and I've really been enjoying that. So yeah, it's keen to see like where it's going. I am a bit like, because the story of like involves this. I don't know if you remember the trailer, but it's like, there's like a permanent nighttime like over the city on Earth, right? And sort of initially no one really knew what it was about. It's like, sort of 7 or 8 weeks in, I'm a bit like, I'm ready for this to sort of reach a conclusion now. But obviously the next season's like another month away or something.
They're 3-month seasons, aren't they?
I think they're 3 months. So actually, so it must be more than a month until the next one. So it'd be interesting to see if they can sort of maintain the interest, because I'm kind of like, although I am enjoying it, I'm kind of ready for it to reach some sort of conclusion. But yeah, I just been really enjoying that. Just dipping in, like
so
playing on my own.
You're playing the season, but are you also doing what's their version on the Battle Pass?
So yeah, that's part of the season. Yeah, that's part of the season pass.
Okay, cool. So are you? Yeah. So you are kind of you're completing now, or getting as close to the end?
Yeah. So as I'm doing this sort of weekly story stuff, that's still getting me experience, which counts towards the season pass stuff, which is fine. It's just extra items and stuff. But yeah, it's been really good. It's like I think the model they're going with now seems to be like, when a new expansion comes out, that's potentially going to get new people in, but a new season is just for people who are already playing it.
Playing
do you know what I mean?
regularly.
Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
ongoing revenue from the fan base.
Like
isn't it?
I don't think a new season like is a point at which you could like, you know, because I'd said to like Cammy and Chris like, yeah, do you know what? Fuck it, I'm going to get back into Destiny because this new season sounds really good, and they sort of tried to join in, and it was just it just wasn't happening. Like it dumped Cammy in a story mission where he wasn't a high enough power level, and he just had a shit time. So
in order to play the new seasons, do you ultimately have had to play everything else so you're still at a level? You can't just be, okay, well, I've hit level cap, so I can play all the new seasons now, because that will change with every...
It's weird, because I thought, my understanding was that every season, so they raise the power cap every season. My understanding was that they basically bring you up to like an acceptable minimum. But that seemingly wasn't the case for Cammy. He was just like, it's just put me in this story mission. I can't fucking do it. Like, it's just it's ridiculous. So I don't know.
So they still haven't really improved this then? Like, this onboarding is
Well, as I say, I don't think seasons are intended to be like an onboarding event. I think they are just there for people who are already invested, which still isn't brilliant. Like, they should still sort of take into account that people, there's going to be some interest around it and people might want to get involved. So, yeah, I don't know. What is interesting is, like every time there's a new expansion or whatever, there would always be on your character select screen, if you had a character that was sort of like really underpowered, there was like a button you could press and it would just bring them up to a certain power level.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
That now costs money.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
So you got one of them things every time there's like a new September DLC, wasn't there?
That's what I thought, yeah. So that icon is still there on the character. So I have like one alt character, which I never use. And I was like, oh, do you know what? I will bring them up to the current power level. Actually, I'll press the button that I have pressed previously and was always free. And now it is not.
How much does it cost in real money?
I think it's like 1,000 silver, which is like £7 or something. Not great. But yeah. So yeah, Destiny 2 is good. I like it. Big news.
Okay.
Right, and finally, yes. So I've been having a go on the new Sea of Thieves stuff.
Is this the Jack Sparrow stuff?
This is the Jack Sparrow stuff.
Are you now full convert to that series? Are you like Pirates of the Caribbean?
Watched all the films
Pirates for me
multiple times.
Well, I've already seen because I saw most of the films back in the day, and then as I say,
has he got a catchphrase? Captain Jack, has he got a catchphrase?
He's got a few, yeah.
Go on, what are a couple of them?
Well, because he says like several times, he's like, "Oh, you'll remember this as the day you almost caught Captain Jack Sparrow," and then there's like a reference to that in the game.
Okay.
Have you said that at all in the game, Sean? Because I'd love it if you said
the catchiest of catchphrases, is it?
No, not really.
Anything shorter.
Anything shorter.
Like the plank.
You'll remember this is the day that you nearly caught
Pirates saying
Captain
it.
Toss.
Something about poop deck.
7 Seas, is it?
So yeah, obviously when this got announced, I was like, look, I revisited the first Pirates of the Caribbean film. It's pretty good fun for the first half, then loses its way, and then everyone says the films sort of just go to shit after that. So I wasn't thrilled, to be honest.
I think your exact quote was, "Oh, fuck off," when it was announced. I think that was the exact quote there.
Well, yeah, because you remember, I think I was saying on the show last week that I found it really weird that the devs had talked a lot about the fact that actually, although there is stuff from the films, they're actually like equally inspired by the ride, right? Which inspired the films.
That's right.
Which I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? So basically the first, I won't spoil it. But
you got a queue for 2 hours before you get in. Oh, come on, that was a good gag. Why?
It was all right.
Well, I laughed.
Fucking hell. Yeah, I know.
The
I know
other
you
two never
did,
laugh.
Sean.
They never laugh.
It's so
Dave.
annoying.
No,
It's all right.
wasn't it?
I did a great gag last week no one laughed at. So let's move on.
Basically, you go through this like series of caves and there's like little puzzles and stuff, and there's just little set pieces that are lifted straight from the ride with the audio
Or do you
from
have
the
to queue
ride
to
as
get
well.
in?
Dave already.
Yeah, no, that was
Okay, just checking. And it's actually really nicely done. It's good.
I was trying everything I could to hold in my laughter, and then it just popped out at the end there. Fuck! So it's really good. What, like the little... What? So you're talking it's a little bit like... I don't know why this example popped into my head, but the Hall of Heroes in Bioshock Infinite is a bit like that, where you're
how does that
literally
work? I
walking
can't
through
remember.
set beats. You're in that game, you're actually walking through a museum, and it's kicking off little bits that you walk into an area in it.
Kind of, yeah. But it's all sort of like it's not like a museum. It's like you are literally going through this cave, and these sort of ghosts are appearing, and they, if it was the ride, those ghosts would be the animatronic figures or whatever. And there's just all these sort of voice samples going off and stuff, which, as I say, are sort of. It's clear they've sort of been recorded as someone has gone through the ride, right? They sound like they're coming out of some speakers in the middle of a ride. It's weird.
Okay.
And then you sort of. There's like a section with like some puzzle stuff, and which is sort of optional. That basically you sort of arrive at this town and you can sort of like just blast straight through it, or if you want, there's like sort of breadcrumb trail of puzzles to solve and stuff. And it's just very odd. Like it feels completely different to anything Sea of Thieves has done before. Like it's clearly relying more on set pieces and sort of. So much more sort of custom built stuff, whereas the previous stuff, even the the previous Tall Tales stuff, which is still quite sort of custom built, it's still set in the world, right? You're still sailing around like the same islands. You're just sort of looking at things in a different way or getting access to like different caves or whatever, whereas this is like totally separate. And I mean, and as it turns out, the stuff with Jack Sparrow in is fine, but it's not really like he's not in it constantly. Like that trailer they showed, it sort of looked like he was like following you around the whole time. There's basically just sort of one sequence with him in it.
I was really hoping it was going to be that. So Sean, you and your crew would be like just playing your game, and then you just keep hearing quotes all the time in the background,
just quipping.
Just like when you're shipping out. Oh, hello. Yeah, you're right.
This is like the time you almost caught that famous character. Shut up!
like that Watson from the Sherlock game, where every time you turn around,
every time you turn around,
hello.
You're just like, can we just lock him up below decks or something?
Yeah, you lock him up below deck, you throw away the key, and you walk up to the top of the deck, and he's standing
Still
there.
there.
Hello, everyone. I'm still
It's me, Johnny Depp. Sorry, I meant Captain Jack Sparrow.
But it's just interesting because what it loses in, sort of being open world, it sort of gains in actually being quite atmospheric, and there's actually some really nice sort of storytelling bits. There was a bit, so the second mission, again, I'm not going to spoil it, I'm going to go into loads of detail. Like the way you approach it is just really cool and really atmospheric, and then we met some other players and I got shot. What had happened was...
I thought that wasn't in this.
Well, this is the thing, right?
Friends.
So we got to this bit where the mission takes place, killed some baddies, and then there was a glowing bit of treasure, right, that we hadn't seen before. And I was like, oh shit, that must be something we need. So I grabbed it, and then these other two players appeared out of nowhere and shot me and took it. And I was like, oh fucking hell, I thought this wasn't meant to be a thing.
Fast track tickets. Come on.
And I was like, oh, fucking hell, I thought this wasn't meant to be a thing. So I was like really pissed off. So then basically had to do this whole approach to this mission again because it put me back on our boat. And I was like, right, this really isn't as cool the second time around. So, sorry, but then before doing it again, I was like, right, well, I'm going to shoot their boat because fuck them. So their boat was like parked at the same place as us, right? So we blew it up. And then we dived back in, and then we sort of...
Wow.
And then we sort of carried on doing this mission, and then basically found out the thing I'd picked up was theirs. And it's something that you get as like in a little set piece that we hadn't done yet. So they must have just put it down and were doing something else.
Oh my God.
And they must have
go
thought
back
I
out to
was
the
trying
car park, and you shot their boat up to shit.
They're on another podcast now going, this guy nicked our loot, so we shot him. I mean, it's...
Which is fair enough.
Sea of Thieves, not Sea of Friends.
Yeah. And then we go back to our
So we were
boat,
playing this
and it was
absolute
gone.
arsehole who just...
We went back to our boat, and they've blown up our boat.
Why would they do that, Tim? Why?
I mean, as it happens, you don't really need the boat again. It's fine.
Okay.
Is
But
that
yeah,
what you said
just-
to them? Look, as
Yeah,
it
yeah,
happens,
yeah.
mate, you don't even need a boat. So
That's what I'm going to say in court next week.
it's called Walk of Friends, not
Called Swim of Thieves.
Sea of Courts. And now we'd like to bring our next witness, Jack Sparrow. I love I was there the whole time following them. I tell you what.
So
I'm
yeah,
sorry, Sean.
once we it's fine. And then once we got past that, it was really good. So yeah, I'm really intrigued to do the rest of them. I think there's 4 or 5 tall tales they've added. Yeah, it's been really great. Having
do you
a nice
anticipate
time.
there'll be more Jack Sparrow content? Because I was thinking, maybe they'll do other IPs, but then what other?
Well,
There's not many pirate IPs, are there?
well, there is. I don't want to spoil it, but there is a whole. It's not a whole section. There's just a bit of, the town I mentioned in the first one. There's a section of that massively references another pirate IP. So I don't know
You
if
don't want to
that's
spoil it. What is
It's not One Piece, is it?
It's not One Piece.
That's
No,
a shame because that'd be awesome.
What was the Sean Bean one? Was that pirates? It wasn't, was it? What was the
Sean
Sean
Bean?
Bean thing with like the period thing that he was
thinking
in?
of
For
Game of
ages?
Thrones.
No. Oh, I can't remember.
Sharp.
Was it called Sharp?
That's not pirates.
That would be brilliant.
It's not, is it? It's like
That's a deep
just the
cut.
war people. Sharp.
It is War People.
I just
Did you know?
remember.
Did you know that-
remember my parents watching it all the time? Oh shit! Sharp's on. Oh, Sharp is it? Oh, Jesus,
Did you know
got
that
him
when
Sharp.
when they filmed that, he just had like crates of Frey Bentos pies shipped over. 'Cause that was all he-
The former ruler of
Cuba.
Cuba, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves is good. You should all play it.
What's the other pirate IP, Sean, or is it a massive spoiler?
It was really cool discovering it and not knowing it was
Okay.
there. So yeah, I'm not going to say. I'll tell you after the show.
Don't ruin it. Is it Skull and Bones, the Ubisoft
It is.
franchise?
Yeah.
I would. I think I would be more likely to play this if Jack Sparrow did follow you around everywhere. I think that would be like I'd have to check that out.
Definitely.
But shame. All right, is that it for what we've been playing? Because it better be.
Yes.
Jesus, I was worried that this was going to be a short show.
We haven't done yours
It's
yet,
cool.
Dave, have we?
Yeah. I spoke about that, the Cyberpunk, didn't I? About 4 hours ago. So should we get to... That wasn't a dig at you, Sean. That was a dig at how long this whole section has been. Right, okay, so should we get to a few questions then before we
We'll
wrap
do
this bad boy up?
a few questions. If you want to contact us, go to tcgs.co/Dear TCGS in your web browser of choice. Maria Mendieta says, Dear TCGS Cobalt Blue DS Lights, and which generation and from which publisher do you think we will see an open world game that allows players to enter any building they please, with each one being functional and unique, with no repeated assets? This has been a childhood dream of mine that is yet to be realised, although Dishonored 2 has come close.
Why, though? Why is that the thing?
I was going to say the short and slightly cheaty answer to this is like, do you really want that necessarily?
Yes, we
Yeah.
want it from day one. Every
Really?
GTA, like this is the GTA where we can go inside buildings, and like Vice City came out, like we can go in some buildings.
I've got an answer. For this.
Well, it's got. Yeah, okay, go on.
My prediction would be this will happen, and it will be the follow-up to Bully by Rockstar Games. Rockstar Games will do another Bully game, and it will be very condensed town like the current Bully was, which I started playing again, by the way. It still holds up in certain ways and doesn't in others, but it's still pretty good fun. And it will be a really condensed town, but literally you can go anywhere in that. I reckon that'll be
that's the way. That's the way you do it, isn't it? It just has to be cut down in terms of scale. It'll never be like a GTA that does this, because like obviously
GTA is all about scale, isn't it? It's all about trying to get the biggest map and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And like the idea that it's a dream that will come as technology improves isn't really the case, because obviously as technology improves we want things to look nicer, so that just makes it harder to make more stuff. So yeah, it has to come at the cost of scaling back the size of the world, doesn't it?
It really does. I'm convinced that they're still going to do a Bully 2. I think the concept is so good, and going back and playing it feels so unique. They could improve it in so many ways, that having a story set in a school like that. Whether it's called Bully or not, I don't know. Probably not. In this day and age, they'll probably rename it.
Well, I don't know, because they renamed the original back to Bully, didn't they, effectively?
It
they
had
did,
that Latin name, didn't it?
Still got my PS2 copy of Canis Carnum Edit.
Yeah, I that was still a while ago. I think they would name it after the school or something like that. You know what I mean? I've just got a feeling that they will go back to that concept. But
I mean, the thing with calling it Bully is it does actually missell the game, because you're not a bully in the game. Like, I suppose you could be, but like fundamentally,
you
the
totally
story is about battering other bullies, isn't it?
Yeah.
So,
There's some really hard stuff in there, but then I think they would go in a more of a not gritty route, but I think they'd tone down the humour in it, because that game is just 100% humour. Like you're walking around and people just shouting out these quotes and stuff. That's what they were going for. But I think that's when we'll see it, when we see a major publisher like that scale down like massively the open world, and then let you go into every building.
Surely would this not be possible once there's better like procedural generation and everything as well? You know?
Yeah, that would help, where they don't have to spend so much time on the landscaping and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But then surely the issue you then have is 90% of the buildings or rooms will just be boring.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yep. But then isn't that reflective of real life? I mean, how many rooms have you been in your life, Sean? And how many of them have been interesting? That's the way you got to look at
like
it.
if you told me now that I can go in any room I like in the whole world, I'd just be like, don't know.
Just choose an interesting one. No.
Yeah.
The dressing room, the French dressing room right now, I think would be the one that I'd go to, just to see what the hell's going on in there. Okay.
Simon DM says, "Hey guys, been listening for years now, and as I'll be a first-time dad this time next month, I just wanted to thank you all.
Congratulations.
Thank you all for all your tips you've given over the years to other TCGS dads. It's been genuinely helpful to hear some honest takes on parenting. I'm currently trying to get through as many games as I can, as I'm basically planning on not really gaming for the next year. Are there any recent must-play short games that you'd recommend? Thanks again for the pod. It's been a lifesaver. The E3 coverage was phenomenal, and I'm sorry for the question, James." I mean, you'll get some gaming done over the next year.
You'll get lots of gaming in, especially if you've got a Switch. Brilliant. Yeah.
This is the best
it won't
time,
necessarily be when you would like to. And it, like, it's like you'll sort of steal bits of free time as and where you can. But I don't think you'll have to bin it entirely.
No, it's when they become more mobile that it becomes more of a problem.
Yeah. It's when it's like, between the ages of 1 and, say, 4 that your gaming takes a nosedive.
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, there is still moments where like you're sitting down in the evening to play a game. Like online games is not worth doing because you have to tell your friends, like the amount of times we've been playing FIFA and I've been like, gotta go. Baby's crying, and it's like, so your mates have got to play the rest of the game on their own. Like, that's pretty bad. But no, I would say if I was to just do one, I would say check out Horace on the Nintendo Switch.
Oh yeah,
HORACE. That's a good little platform with a really fun story. And don't worry about collecting everything. You don't need to. It sort of suggests that that's the main goal, but it isn't. But yeah, Horace was really good, wasn't it, James? I still think about that game.
It was
a
good,
lot.
Yeah.
Actually.
Weird game, isn't it? Just very odd.
Yeah, it is very weird
tone.
because it's all done in text to speech through the perspective of the robot that you're playing throughout the game. And it's very sweary and adult themes and everything, but it initially presents itself as quite a like a kid's game.
That was quite because it catches you off guard, doesn't it, at the beginning, which causes a laugh.
Yeah,
which is
really.
Yeah.
Because and the fact that those cutscenes like persist, like you're watching the opening one, you're like, okay, this is the intro cutscene, and then it will just be a 2D platform. It's like, no, there's cutscene between every level. And
gotcha.
Really interesting.
But that theme tune just enters my head every now and then, and I think about Horace for a little bit. I don't know why. That story sort of just ingrained into my head, like, and that music. Whenever I hear that music, it's like, oh yeah, that little robot. I love that little guy. It's so bizarre. Sean,
I talked about it the other week, but The Wild at Heart on Game Pass, really fucking good. Probably take you about, 15, 20 hours to finish. Really loved it. That would be my recommendation.
James?
Over the Alps. I'll play that definitely.
Yeah.
Because that's
I've heard that's good.
it's very good.
See, that's one you can probably, if you've got that on, iPad or I think it's on Switch. Is it on Switch?
Yeah, it's
as
on
well?
Switch as well,
Maybe, yeah. That would be a good one. Like if your kid, unlike mine, actually is happy to just sleep on you for extended periods of time, that'd be a really nice one to play.
And it's also there's the third episode's coming out soon as well, which will be exciting.
Yeah.
This isn't a new game, but I really like Donut County, and I played that on Game Pass.
Did you?
A while back, yeah. This is another game I haven't actually played, and none of us have talked about. And I can't believe it, but Overboard. Everyone seems to be raving about that.
Oh, yeah, that's the new Inkle one. Yeah, so it's the reverse murder mystery, but it's basically you have just murdered your husband on a boat, and now you have to cover up your tracks.
Yeah,
and it's meant to be well good. It's very short, but really replayable. It's like a reverse Hitman, I guess.
Okay, I'm in. That sounds amazing.
Yeah,
What's it on?
It's on everything. It's on PC. It's on phones. On Switch, I believe.
Is it on? I don't think it's on phones.
It just got announced and released instantly, and everyone's talking about it. And I think you can go through it. You can finish the game in super quick. With about multiple playthroughs to cover your tracks and whatnot.
Wow,
and I've been meaning to get it or play it either on phone or Switch, but other games came around and E3 happened, but. Everyone seems to be raving about that, so that sounds like one to go for.
This does look really interesting.
iOS, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm going to look at this.
It's made by the same people who made, was it around the...
80 days.
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
80
you
days,
mentioned this to me, didn't you? Yeah. Yeah, okay. I might be interested in this. How much?
£6 on iOS. I think it's more on Switch. But...
60 on Switch.
Maybe not.
Listen, mate, if you don't want shitty free-to-play games, this is the cost.
It's true. Bowser's Fury is another one I'd recommend. A recent game that came out that isn't too long. It gives you a full Mario experience in that little game. It's great fun.
Overboard is £11.39 on Switch.
Oh, come on.
iOS then.
You go on
That'd be
iOS,
nicer on iOS anyway.
Oh, iOS.
Better screen. Right.
True.
A few quick ones. Piggy Pete. This is all in capitals, but I can't shout because it's 11:10 and I have a child. He says, all right, seriously now, is it Turner or Turners? This is doing my fucking boxing, lads.
I've been asked this more in the past 3 months than I have for the past, however long I've been on Twitter.
Price of fame, mate.
The name is David Turner, but I'm David Turner's on Twitter because David Turner was taken.
So I sort of
just went, yeah, that's all it was. I was just like, what's my handle? Oh, what am I? I don't want to be, what were the old ones that people used to do? Like either have the number at the end of it or the real David Turner.
I was going to say, we're not
like
tempted to do the David Turner. I hate it when people do
David
that.
Turner, all that sort of stuff.
I really winds me up, I don't know why.
Well, it sounds quite funny if you put an S on the end and David Turner's. So I just went with that at the end. And it was available. So that was my Twitter name. So that's it. And then people just call me David Turner's now, I guess. So yeah, that's probably where the confusion's come in.
The roly-poly pudding, man. This would be an easy, quick one. Hello, chaps. I've thoroughly enjoyed your E3 content as a 2020 newcomer. Like David and perhaps everyone on the internet except for Matt, I was disappointed with the actual presentations. I keep hoping for the return of the ability to play your own music in a game as we once did around the OG Xbox era. Do you think this will ever come back? What with Spotify and all? Roly-poly pudding, man, I've got some amazing news for you.
Yeah.
That's already a thing.
Yeah, that literally happened.
I remember it was on the PS4, right? You could have Spotify in the background and stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, the only difference is that on the PS4 it just played the tracks, didn't it? Whereas on the OG Xbox, at least on the 360, it would skip tracks in the correct places.
Mm-hmm.
So you could load up your hard drive with music, and a game would detect it. And then say you're in a racing game, it will play a track in the menu, and then when you start a race, it will skip it to another track. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
Whereas on the PS4 one, it just played. It
Yeah,
just carried
I
on
remember
with the whole thing.
the 360. The other nice thing it did is it would intelligently cut the game music as well.
That's right. Yeah.
Whereas
I think it was in Burnout, wasn't it, where it would put a distortion on the music. But you probably couldn't get away with that now.
No, probably not.
Yeah, it did something, or maybe didn't put a distortion on it, but raised the music when you boosted or something.
Right. Yeah.
You hit boost. Yeah.
Cool.
That's good.
But yeah, so on the Xbox One, if you've got one, you can just get the Spotify app, and then once it's installed, you sign in with your phone, and then you can just control the playback either with your phone or I think it's on the when you press the home button on the menu there. It's really good, really useful.
And then a few years ago, there's that dangerous driving game that didn't have a soundtrack at all.
Oh, yeah.
It expected you to integrate your Spotify.
Yeah, I didn't like that. I thought that was really bad by doing it. And again, that didn't utilise skipping or anything like that. So it just played the music over everything. And it was like, I'm not getting the feeling of it.
Yeah, and because that's the other downside with using Spotify on the Xbox One. You do then have to go into the game audio settings and mute the game music.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it's fine. Just a bit of a pain.
They used to do weird stuff like that. I remember the golf games where you could record your own character's voice. Like where, instead it's like male 1, male 2 or whatever. And, oh no, I missed. That's an awful shot. Or you could just record yourself going, fuck, when you missed a putt. That was great. And then like on the old FIFA games, you used to be able to put like chants on and stadium noise. And
there was that whole
that sort of stuff.
industry, wasn't there, for PES as well? Just like replacing everything.
Oh god, yeah. DJ Damos. If I don't know if he still listens to my stuff, but DJ Damos, we've got Twitter friendly with a guy who was world famous for his PES file states and stuff. Yeah, incredible. He used to put these little USB things together and send them. You buy them for like 15 quid, and it was worth every penny. The amount of work that went into that was unbelievable. Yeah, very good.
Right, final question comes from Mike Rochburns. That's Michael Rochburns. He says, the house next door to you is empty. You must choose one video game villain to move in and be your new neighbour. Who do you choose and why?
Waluigi, right?
I was going to go with Wario. No, Waluigi's creepy
Wario
as fuck.
as well.
Keep you up all night.
No, because Wario could just like burst through the wall. It'd be well annoying.
Yeah, but Waluigi'd be like plotting to actually kill you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, but the voice would be funny, and you just laugh at his little legs every time he leaves in the morning. When he's got to go to like a wedding or something, and he's wearing an ill-fitted suit where you can see his ankles. You right, Waluigi? Yes. Where are you going? Wedding. Didn't have enough time to get the tailor out. Not allowed in yet. It's COVID. Okay, mate. Can you get me some milk on the way back? Yes, I'll get you some milk. Who else? What's a nice? I suppose a nice villain is what we're looking for. For a nice, friendly villain.
Or just a villain who's just not really going to bother you, necessarily. I don't know. Are there any, fun villains?
Yeah,
there must be loads.
That's the problem, though, in video games. Because you're controlling the hero, they go extra lengths to make you hate the villains.
Yeah. Not many sympathetic
There's not many that I can
villains
think of that you've
games.
really... Oh, one of the Colossus was probably the only technical villain that I hated killing.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want one of them living next door.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
No, you would not.
When I heard this question, I
nightmare.
thought, okay, I'm going to think of a villain that's silent, so it doesn't, you're not hearing banging next door, you're not hearing those noises, just, a nice silent neighbour. And I thought, okay, Mr. X. He doesn't say anything, but then he'll just be chasing me around the house.
Yeah.
Just be following you around.
That'd be a nightmare.
He nearly gave you a heart attack.
I know, that'd be a nightmare. Yeah, so that's backfired.
Just
I don't
him
want him
coming
to be
home
my
from
neighbour.
work and you're hearing... Doof.
Yeah, like the music.
Does Blake from Heavy Rain count? He's not really a villain, is he?
Well, he's not the evil. He's
a
sort
prick.
of
He's not the villain, is
antagonist.
he? Yeah, Blake, no, he's not a villain at all.
He's just an arsehole.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a difference.
Doesn't make him a villain.
We wouldn't want to... Oh, okay.
What did you do there, Dave?
What
was that?
I think that's allowed.
Can we bleep that?
Please bleep it, yeah.
Do you really have to in 2021?
Yeah, you've got to. That'd be funny anyway.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Okay, I'll bleep it.
That James is so happy that I fucked it then.
Oh, dear.
Sorry about that.
I think that's it, isn't it?
Good, Matt.
All
let's
the
do
funny
socials.
answers are Mario ones, basically.
They are.
That's
They are. No doubt about that. Mate, having a Hammer Bro sitting next door.
Fucking hell, yeah, just trying to go to the shops and you're just like, fucking hell.
Just all the windows just constantly broken. Can I borrow a hammer, mate? Cheers. It's just need the one thanks. Go on then.
Okay, are you and James playing Operation Tango on Friday?
Oh, are we doing that?
I don't know. Are you free?
It just suddenly sound like you don't want to.
No, I just forgotten all about it. I'll check. I will let you know, James. Maybe is the answer, Matt. Yeah?
Okay, there might be a stream this Friday at 9. That's it for streams. Unless someone else... Sean, do you want to stream?
Do you know, I keep saying I want to do more lunchtime stuff, but just once again, work has conspired to actually keep me busy. So maybe, question mark.
Okay, another maybe. There might be a lunchtime stream. If you have Amazon Prime, you also have Twitch Prime Gaming. And with that, yeah, 1 free sub every single month. And we mega appreciate it. If you went over to our channel and gave us your free sub, it means a lot. And we really appreciate it. We're on Patreon, as Dave said at the beginning. We're on patreon.com/TCGS. Our monthly bonus podcast is out now. It's very revealing on a number of different levels. And we're in the month of July very soon. Tomorrow, as you're listening to this. So there'll be new podcasts, new talksovers, and all sorts. Go over to our Patreon and see what tiers take your fancy. And the website is tcgs.co for links to our social channels, our store, and our Discord. I keep forgetting to promote a Discord, but we've got a wonderful Discord community. Loads of people over there chatting about all sorts of subjects, all things day and night. So if you're into that or want to meet up with like-minded TCGS fans in your area, go to our website and there's a link there to our Discord.
Thanks for living it. We will catch you next week for more chat about video games.
Oh, not again.
We hope you have a nice week. I know.
Got to talk about something else.
Can we re-record the intro to the bonus show? I think I've got a new answer. I'll catch you later, everyone. Love you. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.